hey, it's Matt.
Hello?
Hi.
How goes it?
You just planned on joining us for Rush that can't sleep in a house with no end?
No, I just literally just the thing just rang and I just automatically picked it up.
Ah.
I was actually about to go to sleep. I was like, "Who's calling me?" So I was about to go to sleep. So,
Well, don't worry.
If you
sleep
join
here.
one of our calls, you're never gonna go to sleep.
Jesus
well, it's
Christ.
1 o'clock here. So,
Oh, that explains a thing or two.
all right, yeah.
It's finally nice hearing from you again. I'll say that.
Okay, everything should be working,
how
right?
have you all been?
I've been
It's been one of those days
alive.
when you don't want to wake
Well,
up.
that's good.
Oh fuck! Why am I?
Wait, you've been alive? Fucking lucky
Somewhat,
ass.
yes.
Wait a minute. Can you guys not
I've
hear
been a
me?
skeleton
God
this
damn
whole
it!
time.
You
Oh
it?
man, Matt's a skeleton too. You can be Skelebuddies.
You can't hear me again. What is happening?
That's what I actually look like. It's
Hello? Can anyone hear me?
yeah.
Now we can hear you.
God damn
Now
it!
we can, yeah.
What is your?
Yeah, I'm sure you were tracking the most offensive racist shit ever.
I was
and then
saying,
you
oh,
just
hey,
realized-
it's Matt. How you doing, man? I was explaining about it. Oh, sorry. So people on stream could hear me talk, and they could hear me talking to Matt, and apparently they're probably thinking like, oh, Matt's some horrible racist because he's ignoring the only black guy in the call.
I'm not wholly racist because of that. It's all the terrible things I do.
Yeah.
Reminds me of that joke I made, like, look, I may be a
as all the stuff we share in the Discord goes.
So, yeah.
Also, all the lynchings.
Well, it's not really a...
Cross burning.
Look, it's not a cross. Oh, what is it? Like, can a man burn a lowercase t on someone's property while people making assumptions?
T as in time to go.
It's time to leave!
T means time to leave, Cash Chucker. I love that episode so much. So, hello everyone. This is Vince and Fish Stick on a Stick and MD Phantasm and surprisingly Matt, where we unintentionally disturbed out of his peaceful sleep. He was going to go to sleep because he's got an important meeting tomorrow, something involving, you know, world peace. He was gonna go and like, I'm gonna get this Brexit shit sorted out once and for all. Everyone's gonna be happy, and now I've ruined it for everybody.
Yeah. Ruined through off my sleep schedule. It's gonna be ruined. Brexit's gonna go forever and be really annoying and have a stupid name.
So
It really does sound like some kind of cracker or something, doesn't it?
Oh yeah,
I
like,
don't
the new Brexit. Yeah, put some butter on them.
I don't mean cracker in like
Yummy.
yeah,
the racist
I wasn't gonna say anything. I was thinking it, but I thought, you know,
I was gonna say something that I just did.
well, it's better. Remember when Texas was in our country was threatening to secede, and it's like, well, it's better than what do they call it? No, what do they call it? Texit or some shit like that because of Brexit. And
Texit? Oh, that's awful.
That's awful.
All you did was add one letter to exit. What the hell?
Yeah. Brexit sounds like a cracker, but Texit sounds like some sort of like duct tape, sort of like knockoff, like sort of like shitty flex tape.
It's like that.
Either that, or it's just some way to sound hip with the kids to not text while driving.
It's just like, just imagine like, honey, I'm gonna go and pick up some flex tape from the store. Like, honey, we have flex tape at home. Flex tape at home.
Text it.
Yeah. So long
Who
story.
would be Texit spokesperson? Because it's not Phil Swift.
It'll
It's
be-
got to be like Johnny Slow or something.
What's his name? Fucking Vinny. Is that what his name? Vince or something like that?
Oh, the ShamWow guy, yeah, Vince.
Oh
something.
yeah,
Can,
I love that.
Can
guy.
I point out that I know he, like, people like look down on him for like he beat up a prostitute, like in a car, but if someone bites down on my tongue and won't let go, what the fuck do you think I'm gonna do? I think that's fair, isn't it?
You beat up one hooker, and all of a sudden you're a villain.
Don't bite down on my
Suddenly
tongue.
You're the hooker beater.
You
I
get treated
learned
as
it from
you get
GTA.
treated
It's
as
fine
a
there.
criminal to society by eliminating all the other criminals to society.
Blue Moon Samurai, how you doing? He says he's excited for the stream. You got poor taste, but thank you.
Oh yeah, there's a cat here, isn't there?
Isn't VineSauce streaming? What are you doing
yeah,
here?
there's material.
So
I
yeah,
guess he doesn't like Vinny.
we will be reading Russian Sleep Experiment and NoEnd House. These are pretty long stories, so we're no joking allowed, no racist humor. So I'm gonna just end the stream right here because that's my bread and butter.
Yeah.
Good thing you don't monetize this
Wait,
shit.
wait,
Then.
wouldn't it be not your bread and butter, but wouldn't it be your
I knew-
fried chicken
I-
and watermelon?
I knew it. I knew it. The moment he said, the moment you started, I knew it.
I'm tired of it. Like, I'm going to make a stand here. I'm tired of all the black people hogging the fried chicken. Fried chicken's delicious. I'm taking it back.
We're
I'm also
reclaiming
taking
it for
a
the white
stand
man.
against them stealing our watermelon.
It feels wrong to say, but it's true. Like, I mean, look, some things were that was our reparations. Okay, we get to be synonymous with good food, and we get to make fun of you for allegedly not seasoning your food. That's the punishment you white people have to suffer now. You're not allowed to season your food. We are.
Garlic salt is seasoning.
I don't,
man,
I don't see why. Like, you know, like, it's always
all I get for seasoning is salt.
Yeah.
This is too spicy for me.
why
Man,
did that become a thing? Like, oh, those black people and their fried chicken. Like, oh wait, like why is that an insult?
I think
it's a
That's
plus.
more
Fried
benign.
chicken's lovely.
Stereotypes, really.
I think yeah, it's an inexpensive food, so and I think that's what we could get. Like that, I remember my dad used to pick up my biological father used to pick up and this was before I was born. My mom hated whenever he would come back from the store because he would spend money on like 10 pounds of chicken legs, and that was the meat plan for the rest of the month. And so it's like like
Chicken.
just gotta make me feel bad, don't you, Dad? I'm a black dude. My daddy walked off when I was 4, and I love fried chicken.
Milk.
Like, god damn it! Like, why am I a stereotype? It sucks.
I mean, did he come home also with like a whole bunch of grape Kool-Aid?
I don't know. I gotta go. I never checked my pantries.
No, they don't call it grape Kool-Aid. They call it perp drink.
No, purple drink. What are you, stupid? The purple drink is cough syrup, idiot. God, you're so dumb. Let's laugh at Damien for not knowing about drugs.
Huh.
So yeah, Russian Sleep Experiment and NoEnd House. I'm not sure exactly how to approach this because I'm used to intentionally looking up stories that I guess would have a lot of riff material, and these are two relatively well-acclaimed stories, especially NoEnd House. I have read Russian Sleep Experiment, and I do have a lot of gripes with it. I've actually read it like 5 times in the year, just trying to do a recording of it, and I've stumbled over myself so much because I'm a mushmouth dullard.
You suck.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to use big words to articulate the fact that I suck, but sometimes
You suck.
shortest
You're trying to use big words to hide the fact that you're not Frederick Douglass. You're not a well-educated black man.
Jesus Christ, Damien.
Me use big words.
Hey, what do you
We can't
expect?
really think of anything else to do, so let's just make fun of the black guy. It's okay. It's okay. He said we could do
Hey,
it.
I can't be racist towards my
Yeah,
fellow
I know a
whites. I
black
have
friend.
no
I know a black
material.
guy.
I'm sick of you racist fucking honkies. Go back to the Caucasus
And yet you
Mountains.
still hang out with us.
Go back to the
Oh,
Caucasus
how do you know I'm
Mountains.
not a honky? I'm white. I can't be a honky.
Go back
I'm a
to.
clown. Does that make
I'm
me
a
a
white
hunky?
British person. We're
What?
not honkies.
Why doesn't anyone try to use that, like, when it says go back to Africa? Well, go back to England, you pasty face motherfucker. It's like at least.
I mean, I'd go back to Ireland, but all the
I'm
fucking
French,
British
I'll
people
have
could
you know.
make that a good option.
Like, imagine, because we weren't invited.
Margaret Thatcher.
We weren't invited into this country. We were brought here, and you just like made yourself at home here. So technically, who's more welcome?
Who do you think your supplier is? If they didn't want you there, why do you think we want you here?
So yeah.
Also, Also, I gotta say, like, in black people insulting white people, you gotta come up with some better insults. Honky, cracker. These are so lame.
Well, there's a difference between like there are plenty of insults, good insults, but
It doesn't have the same
we're
punch as a
talk-
good old-fashioned N-word.
the problem is like if you're talking
Even
about
just saying N-word is just like, whoa, 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 you're not gonna actually say it, are you?
I'm going to say the N word.
No, don't do it.
No, don't say that. That's racist.
But I don't know. Like if you're talking about slurs, I would agree, but insults, no. Like there's plenty to like. Because when you talk about insults towards white people, it's usually like about how lame or how racist or some shit like that.
I feel like how lame they are stings deeper than how racist they are.
And it's kind of weird.
Because
you grew up in
you read a comic about, oh no, this is extra mild sauce for white people. It's like, oh dude, it's so spicy. I can totally feel it. And you're just like, oh yeah, we're like that.
What I always thought was funny is when someone calls a black person calls someone white Wonder Bread.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I like stale end piece of white bread, but that's from Ed, Edd and Eddy, so that doesn't really count.
I love how they got away with that. I didn't notice it as a kid, and they're like, "Oh, he's calling Kevin a cracker." Well, I guess Rolf is kind of he's
ethnically Europeanly
This is
vague.
for Fish and Matt if he wants to click on it.
oh god.
Oh yeah.
To actually shout at you guys, I'm not sticking around to read Russian Sleep Experiment at 1 in the morning.
That's fine.
I don't blame you.
You're here to.
You should actually get some sleep experiment.
You're just here to insult us.
Well, not really insult you, just like one person. You can say a minority of people here. I was going to insult.
Oh, you tea drinking fucking.
You know, despite being 25% of this Discord call,
all his racism is killing me.
all that.
So,
gracious, master.
So,
all this racism.
I give you guys an inch, and you just not even a mile. You fucking like Usain Bolt. You sprinted over that line. But
I wish there was a Mexican in here. Then I could make another joke.
Well, the thing is,
do you have one for Filipinos? I'm kind of a quarter Filipino.
Well, the thing is, I'm used to doing these sort of things with Toby, and since he's a poor working class boy, like I have to focus that onto someone else.
Oh, that's me. That's me.
He's essentially your slave, huh? Gotcha.
No, he's the country slave. That's what the working class are.
So he doesn't get a good tan. Gotcha.
No.
Well, I have two eyes. I've seen what Toby looks like, and I would not want to be out with him when it's like sunny out because then I would have to wear sunglasses.
I wouldn't want him working on my fields. He'd like fall over.
No, he'd be a great scarecrow.
I was about to make that exact same joke.
I'm sure Toby, who is definitely not watching this stream, loves all these insults.
Toby is the most chill person I've ever seen.
He's very chill. Were you around for when we tried to read
Stones of Abigail?
The last episode. Yeah, not Stones of Abigail. It's the new book. We tried. You know the whole thing with some dude on YouTube struck.
Yeah,
Jacob's
video.
Eli So Cray or whatever.
Oh, Eli So Cray. Yeah.
Yeah. So we tried to. Yeah, so we tried to do it over on Twitch, but the thing kind of fell apart, and we just spent most of the time making fun of Toby. We started reading the story, and we got like two paragraphs in before we just started ripping on Toby. He's a very good friend because he's like a sponge. He's like a punching bag of a person. You just throw insults at him and he'll just laugh it off, or secretly resent you and plan to murder you. One of the two.
I think that
love Toby because
where you're ripping on an Elysium book and Toby killed
even this gun.
I think that's the kind of unspoken agreement they have. Like we acknowledge that at some point Toby's gonna snap and kill us both horribly. But we're gonna have fun until that moment comes up. As you
See, I have the advantage over Jacob because I live much further away than he does. He can walk to Jacob's house and murder him. He has to take a train to get here.
Totally. I think that's why he put him in the starring role of Gracie as like a "please don't kill me" thing.
You gotta watch out for the
This
quiet
apology.
So real
poor boy reparations.
So real quick, how many fellas here have actually read Russian Sleep Experiment before?
I think I've read it.
I've heard someone read it. It was boring as shit.
Was it Mr. Creepypasta?
Ago, though.
I don't even remember who read it to me.
Maybe it was Creeps McPasta. And then all the Russians couldn't get to sleep.
And then all the Russians couldn't.
Since Jacob's not here, was he nonsense a child at the time while I was reading it? Allegedly. Just filling in for Jacob.
Allegedly.
Just.
I don't know, like with the
I didn't realize Creeps McPasta was Ringo Starr, by the way.
You're not even.
Is that not his voice though? It's always Jacob's impression.
Do not disrespect Ringo Starr. Like, he may be the least respected Beatle, but he doesn't deserve that.
I thought that was George Harrison or
Pete
Best.
Well, Pete Best was. It's like, what's her name from the first season of Star Trek Next Generation, who quit before the first season and was like, I'm tired of it, and she missed out on the train, like the fucking money franchise it became. I should have stayed.
I mean, Yoko Ono is like the least respected Beatles adjacent person, so I think we can all agree on that one at least.
She didn't ruin the band. She just.
What are you talking about? I love her ear wailing songs.
Do people actually
right in the middle of fucking Johnny Be Good?
Unironically, like Yoko Ono, because I've heard people think you just don't get it, man. It's avant-garde. Like, I've heard avant-garde, and this is just shit.
I don't think I've actually heard any of her songs. The closest thing I've probably heard to her songs is that bit in The Simpsons with the B sharps. So
there was that, and then there was that Animaniac, the Piggy in the Brain episode that has her like. That's her whole thing, like, oh, I need to sing my love song.
Quick, cut the power to her mic. Cut the power to her mic.
Okay, give her the mic that's like unplugged and make her think she's doing like when you hand your controller to your little brother and it's not plugged in, but he doesn't know the difference. Guys, I wrote a song. Like, that's great. We're gonna put it right on the fridge.
Too bad John took it personally and left the band because of it.
Oh, John Lennon?
And then John Lennon got shot because of that.
The most famous wife beater in history.
Well, my dad always said about John Lennon is, well, the thing with his song "All You Need Is Love," he should have had an additional and a bulletproof jacket. That was something my dad said to me when I was like 14.
I mean, is it fair?
Maybe if Holden Caulfield had love, then that guy wouldn't have shot him.
I'm curious. Like, people like crack wise about John Lennon being a horrible person and beating his wife. Like, why doesn't that extend to someone like, I love Miles Davis music, but that doesn't extend to Miles Davis? I don't hear anyone.
That's not common knowledge.
I don't even know who the hell that is.
I fucking hate you. I hate you on a personal level.
Well, I mean, everyone hates me. What else is new?
Don't disrespect me.
Like, with John Lennon, it's A, common knowledge, and B, he can't exactly fight back about it.
It's also the fact that he sung a song about everyone getting along and imagine the world is...
Yeah, it's kind of contradictory.
Imagine a world where we can come together and scrub the blood off my knuckles.
It's like... Well, remember that fucking... What was it? Russian Deadpool guy? Remember that motherfucker? It was like a vocal...
No.
He was a vocal male feminist on his not popular podcast, but it had like, I think it could get like 100 viewers a stream, and yeah, he got along well enough with people who are like anti-feminist, which is a funny thing. Like, he interacted with them and chilled with them, and then one day he gunned down, I think, his wife or girlfriend, and while on magic mushrooms.
It's always the people you least expect, really.
But that's the point I'm trying to make, is that it's like when a male feminist like does something, you find out they do something fucked up, and it's like,
Oh, I expect that shit at this point.
Yeah.
Well, male feminist, yeah.
Who was it that I think Bill Burr said, like, you can't be, a man can't be a feminist any more than I could be a Black Panther. So Russian sleep experiment. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been a good segue if you just left it at Russian Deadpool instead of just Bill Burr.
God damn it, you're right. I hate when you're right. By the way, I've got a drink here.
We have to go on another tangent now.
Orange soda.
Somehow circle back around to Russians.
Orange soda mixed with vodka.
Well, Russia.
There you go. There's the Russian connection.
Perfect. We did it.
By the way,
record time, gamers.
By the way,
you guys are gonna start this. I'm gonna head off to sleep.
Yeah, sure. Real quick, Matt, have you ever tried Dan Aykroyd Crystal Skull vodka?
I've never tried it. It's like on the bucket list, basically.
Yeah, it's very. It's and now, my sister bought it for me, and I keep I mostly wanted it for the fucking glass skull because I thought it was so fucking wicked. It's
yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, it did look cool.
It is good. When they talk about how smooth it is, that's not exaggeration. It's actually a really good vodka.
Well, it's filtered through diamonds and crap. I've seen the JonTron thing about it.
Oh yeah.
I saw the Red Letter Media Ghostbusters review where they got wasted on it.
I can't tell how much of that was a bit or not. You can never tell. Except for that one episode where they get so smashed they couldn't finish the episode and had to come back the next day.
Wait, which one was that?
It was there was like a Halloween episode, and Rich doesn't drink, and he was the only, and you know how it is to be the only.
Rich has been drinking.
Rich has been drinking. The only sober person in the room full of drunk people, and when they're trying to record something, and I think
I am the designated driver.
I think Jay got the drunkest.
Oh my!
And like. Rich started laughing at Jay slurring, and Jay's like, "Why is Rich freaking out?" And it's like, Rich didn't say anything. I'm like, what? I heard him say something.
Wow.
And then
damn, that's really bad.
And then the next day, they kind of cut back as if nothing happened. It's like, well, we had to cancel the thing because somebody got a little too drunk, and everyone was looking at Rich. So, is Matt still here?
Yeah, I'm about to head off. All right.
Yeah,
alright.
Cool talking to you guys.
Nice having you around for this.
See you later, Matt.
I will.
Later. I do not want to read this bloody story at 1 a.m.
Real quick, I will be heading. Matt.
Much too spooky.
Matt will be. His name will be in the description because he participated.
Gotta have that clickbait.
He read the. I mean, he did read he read the fucking name of the story, so that counts as participating.
We can put him in the trailer now.
Chapter 1. I'm just cuss.
Take it easy, man. Sorry to wake you up suddenly.
Alright. See ya.
Later, man.
God, I fucking hate that guy.
Back to 9/11.
So, like I was saying, I'm just saying that British people need to give me money for the pain they caused me personally. All of them. Where's my British reparations?
Oh, look at me, I'm British.
And that hurts my feelings. So, yeah, Russian sleep experiment. Let's get into it finally.
I was going to recommend him stick around because this would have made some great melatonin.
Oh, what, you think the story is boring, Damien?
Wow, that's really offensive
for a story about keeping people awake, it sure does put me to sleep.
Oh.
That's the one family-friendly joke you'll get out of me.
Russian researchers in the late 1940s kept 5 people awake for 15 days using an experimental gas-based stimulant. They were kept... just farted in the room repeatedly. It's like some weird kink.
We called it methane.
Well, just imagine the person...
They couldn't sleep because the room smelled so bad.
The person
one sentence in and it just immediately fart jokes.
The person behind the experiment is the first ever degenerate furry, and it's with a fart fetish. And
it's Pepe Le Pew.
It's like, sir, what are we trying to experiment? We're trying to see if they stay awake, and he's meanwhile he's got a raging boner that he's hiding with his clipboard.
Stay awake, smell my farts.
They were kept in a sealed environment to carefully monitor their oxygen intake so the gas didn't kill them, since it was toxic in high concentrations. This was
It really is methane. Shit.
this was before closed circuit cameras, so they only had microphones and 5-inch thick glass porthole. That's very hard to articulate.
Porthole
This
size.
feels like kind of a run-on sentence.
Porthole-sized windows into the chamber to monitor them. The chamber was stocked with books, cots to sleep in, but no bedding, running water, and toilets.
Just one toilet.
And a toilet. Not even a toilet. Just his
Just
name was
a
Toilet.
guy named Toilet.
Yeah.
To be fair,
His parents hated him so much they named him Toilet.
I think
And sent him off to the fart gas chamber.
to be fair, like these guys, the next sentence is pretty much they're prisoners of war. So like, are you really going to be all that concerned with like accommodating their? Then again, you kind of have to, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it kind of compromise the experiment if there's only one toilet and like you want to make sure that they're as comfortable as possible to see the effects of the gas, right?
Yeah, like they're living in normal conditions. Not like, prisoner conditions.
As and enough dry.
I mean, like...
But this is like World War. Okay, when was World War?
It's the give and take of you have to have them in an enclosed environment.
World
but you
War
also
II,
have to
yeah.
keep them comfortable.
Yeah,
World War II ended in 1945.
So this is the late 1940s. So this is what, Cold War then?
So
Like, just starting Cold War.
So it kind of raised the question to me, and it's something that kind of came up a lot when I tried to read this story, like without riffing it, was because I like reading about like the basically atrocities of war, right? I like the Nanking massacre and
Sure.
Joseph Mengele, and at the same time, it's like. I think there's the one thing that's never established is that I want to know what these people were trying to do with the what was their intention? What were they hoping to achieve or find out?
Vague science.
Because of
I mean, there was that one Japanese, like, basically lab full of people. I forget what it was called.
Hang on, Apostrophe wants some creepypasta advice on how to avoid cliches. This is more important than the story.
Well, a lot of things are more important than the story, I imagine.
I don't know if I could really answer that, like how to avoid cliches. For one thing, cliches are not in and of themselves terrible. It's essentially what you do with them that really bothers people. Like
Unit 731. That's what I was looking for.
Oh right. What was his name? That piece of shit with the circular like Tojo? No, Tojo's the emperor. The man, the guy who was like Japanese mangala.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia article right now. I literally found this place by looking up on Google "fucked up Japanese World War II research place."
Well, you won't really narrow it down.
Hisato Yoshimura conducted experiments by taking captives outside, dipping various appendages into water of varying temperatures, and allowing the limb to freeze. Once frozen, Yoshimura would strike their affected limbs with a short stick, emitting a sound resembling that which a board gives when it is struck. Ice was then chipped away, with the affected area being subjected to various treatments, such as being doused in water, exposed to heat of fire, etc. So yeah, he just forced people to get frostbite, which sucks.
That wasn't even the worst of the experiments they did to the. Oh, this is I think Mandarin.
Yes,
Mandarin or
checking the effects of syphilis, rape, and forced pregnancy.
Using them as a. I think they also use them as targeting dummies for like bayonet practice and whatnot.
Welcome
Yeah,
to Vince
weapon
12
testing.
Streams. Come for the story, stay for the fucked up bullshit you'll end up hearing.
So,
Human targets were used to test grenades positioned at various distances and in various positions. Flamethrowers were tested on humans. Humans were also tied to stakes and used as targets to test pathogen-releasing bombs, chemical weapons, and explosive bombs, as well as bayonets and knives. So yeah, bad stuff.
oh, someone called you the goat, Damien.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
wait,
no.
I need to scream.
Oh my.
Real quick, Damien and Fish, do you have any advice for apostrophe music for how to make a non-cliche filled video game creepypasta? I don't really have one. It's really hard to make one that actually is passable nowadays because
Yeah, because
A
like
video game pasta?
yeah, in a lot of stories it would be like, oh, cliches aren't inherently a bad thing, but in a video game creepypasta, I'd be like, they kind of are
Yeah,
there though.
just avoid the word hyper-realistic and try to pick a game that either no one has played or you know well enough to make creepy in some ways.
also the horror
Yeah,
should
what I would do, like in most, like in generally a video game pasta sense, is make a game that just doesn't even exist. That's what I would do.
like Petscope.
Yeah, like Petscop, Catastrophe Crow is a new one in that same sort of vein.
NES Godzilla because it
Pale
doesn't exist at
Luna,
all.
like just
Well, I mean, there was an NES
No, there
Godzilla. It
wasn't.
was just terrible.
No, there wasn't.
yeah,
I only played good Godzilla games. That never happened. And also, my advice.
What are you talking about? Good Godzilla games don't exist.
Fuck you. My advice basically would fall down to don't use the game itself as a crutch for the horror that you're trying to implement. Like one of the reasons why Ben's
Yeah.
round works is because the horror is related to the effects that Ben as an entity is having on the main character. And
yeah, it's not just, oh my god, Link is so spooky, this is ruining my childhood.
he's doing things that are completely out of character. Don't be JC the Hyena, where the horror comes from.
Basically,
Oh my
yeah.
god, Sonic is evil. Like Sonic isn't
Sonic's
real.
not
Yeah,
supposed
don't
to
do
be
shock
evil.
factor, please.
And also, don't be
Or,
like
I
JC
mean,
the Hyena and do a
Only
lot
have one shocking moment so the audience
of.
can
Don't be like
digest it.
Don't be like JC the Hyena and do erotic roleplay with 14-year-olds.
That too, yeah.
So
You like paws?
no.
Too bad. I'm gonna load you up with fetish art about paws.
I actually almost made Jacob throw up on that stream that Matt talked about because I sent him a link to JC's Twitter account. The test subjects were political.
And he actually clicked on it like a buffoon.
Oh my god.
The test subjects were political prisoners deemed enemies of the state during World War II. Everything was fine for the first 5 days. The subjects hardly complained having been promised falsely that they would be freed if they submitted to the tests and did not sleep for 30 days. Their conversations and activities were monitored, and it was noted that they continued to talk about increasingly traumatic incidents in their past, and the general tone of their conversations took a darker aspect after the 4-day mark.
I mean, they are prisoners of war.
There's one thing
What
that
else do you expect them to talk
We're gonna
about?
talk about pretty dark shit at some point.
the one thing I kind of wished was done with the story is that, like, introducing these prisoners as characters. Like, I understand that you don't want to have them overstay their welcome on what's supposed to be a relatively short story, but I would kind of want a little bit of information in it because this is kind of being, as it is right now, it's kind of be towing in a kind of dry bureaucratic tone, right? And
Let him be.
oh Jesus!
Whoa, Fitch!
What?
Your audio's corrupted.
Can you say something, Fish, real quick?
Hang on.
That was horrifying.
That was probably the scariest thing we'll ever have in this story.
How about this?
Okay, that's better.
Better.
Well,
Okay, cool.
oh, is there
Yeah,
some?
that happens sometimes.
So yeah, so like it's kind of like how the SCP Foundation kind of functioned, and like I'm not a big fan of it nowadays, but the one thing I liked about it was the kind of dry, matter of fact tone that was taken with this, and it kind of puts you in a sense that a sense of mind that this is actually happening because this is how these people are actually dealing with it.
Yeah, it's like an actual record of events rather than like a personal account almost.
Yeah.
Like a diary entry or something. It's like a log that someone like a scientist would.
So I think part of that would also be like naming these people and their backgrounds and like why they were put into this experiment and what made them political prisoners to begin with.
Or hell, even to just like go like double down and be even more clinical about it, like referring to them as something like subjects.
Oh yeah.
Where you're just completely dehumanizing them because why even bother caring?
But as it is, like You gonna say something?
Well, our scientists just label them by number.
Oh yeah, and that's an issue that kind of will come up at some point. There doesn't feel like there's a big juxtaposition between how they start out and what they end up as at the end of the story, because we don't spend enough time with them as normal people to really understand like how bad the change is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I have to say it. Aluska is a clown for striking Kobe's channel. Well, clowns make me laugh. And that man has the charisma.
Eli is so crazed, just a schizo.
He has the charisma of a wet sack of gravel.
Yes.
After 5...
Oh boy, I can't wait for him to strike this channel too.
Fuck you. I mean...
You say that, but I'm pretty sure he's that petty and vengeful.
Strike me about what? What have I, like, yeah, I don't even have footage, like, he's gonna strike me.
Bullying. That's what.
Bullying.
You are mean.
You're
saying mean things.
I mean this sincerely. Don't call yourself a gangster and say that you're being bullied. Guys,
I'm being cyberbullied.
I'm actually, like, stunned that someone would call themselves a gangster and then complain about bullying. I'm just imagine, like, fucking what's his name, DMX, talking about, like, I'm tired of people harassing me on Twitter. You're not gonna fucking see that.
X gonna give it to them cyberbullies.
Or Damien, imagine New Jack complaining about how people are like cyberbullying. It ain't happening. Like, if someone tried to send you that Navy SEAL creepy pasta to New Jack, he's like, okay, tell me. He'll fucking drive down to him and is like, come on, you were talking all that shit.
That is if he gets the address in the first place.
After 5 days, they started to complain about the circumstances and events that led them to where they were, and started to demonstrate severe paranoia. They stopped talking to each other and began alternately whispering to the microphones in the one-way mirrored portholes. Again, that sounds really weird.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing, little mama? Let me whisper in the ear. Tell you something fresh you might like to hear. It's free real estate.
Oddly, they seemed to think that they could win the trust of the experimenters by turning over their comrades, the other subjects in captivity with them. I mean, okay. At first, the researchers suspected this was the effect of the gas itself, ellipses. Why is there ellipses in this, like, I guess, log?
Yeah, that's weird.
I think that the person reading this kind of forgot what kind of story that they were going for a sec.
Yeah. Because that's a bit, like, an ellipses is this sort of, I guess, personal thing. Where it's like, just to show that you are pausing, I suppose.
Yeah. So imagine this is like I don't know, Vladimir is like presenting this to his superiors and he's reading it out loud and he's like, okay, I gotta make sure to put this in to put dramatic pause. The bosses will be really impressed then.
You watched the entirety of the Ash Coma video?
Oh my fucking god.
Oh my god, I feel so sorry for you.
I love how the fucking
7 hours of mostly rambling.
Yeah, there's 2 hours of us reading the story, and then there's like an extra 5 hours,
2 hours
of nothing.
Of me tormenting my friends with Foul and Wonderful World.
You didn't like inflatable sheep costume?
You didn't like a random musical number? You didn't like Dummy Thick
most
Pig?
of this out of my memory.
Wait, is this a log? When I say log, I mean in the sense that it's supposed to be
a log of shit.
Vince, kick him out.
I would. Wouldn't it be like it'll be something of like, I'm gonna kick this motherfucker right now. Just kick Andy Phantasm. Well, the fucking bit from Team 4-Star nail, slap him. He slaps the wrong guy. Thank you. After 9 days, the first of them started screaming. He ran the length of the chamber, repeatedly yelling at the top of his lung for 3 hours straight. He continued attempting to scream, but was only able to produce occasional squeaks. The researchers postulated that he had physically torn his vocal cords.
Physically? That implies he reached in with his hands and tore out his vocal cords somehow.
I mean, I think the implication... That's supposed to be like he screamed so much that his vocal cords were damaged, right?
Yeah.
The phrasing
That's
there.
what I got out of that anyway.
I mean, the way, Damien said it best. Like, it sounds like he actually, when you say physically torn, like, even the word torn, like, I don't know, like, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
The most surprising thing about this behavior is how the captives reacted to it, ellipses, or rather, didn't react to it. They continued whispering to the microphones until the second of the captives started to scream. Second? What do you mean? What do you?
Well, I mean, I don't know how many people are in this chamber, but
Yeah.
I think it's implied to be the second person. But
oh, wait, they said 5, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The second person to be moved into the chamber? Like, were they gradually put in there?
When he starts screaming, I suppose.
The two non-screaming captives... Oh, sorry. A second of the captives started to scream. The two non-screaming captives took the books apart, smeared the page with their own feces, and pasted them calmly over the glass portals. The screaming promptly stopped.
That's disgusting.
Poo-poo.
See,
now the fart gas is like, it makes them...
It makes them scat fetishes. That's a curse.
Exactly. So this is the outcome that the researcher was hoping for all along.
I want more of my own kind. He just comes to the chamber naked. My brothers, join me. What is Olaf doing? Like, imagine like Stalin's like sitting in his office and like one of his trusted counsel comes in like, how is the report going? And like, you might want to read this. And Stalin's like, okay,
that's true.
I did nothing wrong. After 3 more days pass, so did a whispering to the microphones. After 3 more days passed, the researchers checked the microphones hourly to make sure.
That deserved to be a sentence.
I mean, comma and a period are next to each other. No, that's a new sentence entirely. So that's not a typo.
Yeah.
The researchers checked the microphones hourly to make sure they were working, since they thought it impossible that no sound could be coming with 5 people inside. The oxygen consumption in the chamber indicated that all 5 must still be alive right now to this day.
Wow. That's amazing.
Really?
10 swaps. I mean, is it a 10 swap?
I don't know.
Indicated that all 5 people must still... I mean, yeah, it switched from past to present there.
Well, what would the past tense of must be? Or should it... You could have just said they should still be alive. No, that'll still be... I don't know.
Had to still be alive or whatever, I don't know.
Or would.
I mean, it depends on when the story's being written, I suppose?
No, really,
like,
what...
Is it being written as these events are happen? I don't... Is it like...
No, it's not.
What? I'm reading the comments. What's happening here? That sentence I was made. Oof. Are you having a stroke here? You're right. No, really, what happened in the story? What do you mean? Oh no, they're talking about a fucking.
No, that really happened.
They're talking about Ash's coma
theory.
theory.
The word. Yeah. Again, I feel sorry for you watching that.
Yeah, Ash's coma theory is the most insane thing we've read in a long time. It is.
Here's a shocking moment. Okay, here's another shocking moment. Okay, here's another shocking moment. Please give me a break.
James represents Ash's repressed homosexuality. That was my favorite. And Misty is his ideal woman and also his dommy mommy. The oxygen consumption. The fact that, in fact, it was the amount of oxygen 5 people would consume at a heavy level of strenuous exercise. On the morning of the 14th day, the researchers did something they said that they would not do to get a reaction of the captives. They used the intercom inside the chamber, hoping to provoke any response from the captives they were afraid were either dead or vegetables.
Oh no, he turned into a carrot.
Or as my father, according to my mom, would say, vegetables. I don't know why he would say. I don't know why he would do that. They announce, we are going to open chamber to test microphone. The one. Step away from door and lie flat on floor and do dinosaur, or you will be shot.
God damn it.
Compliance will earn one of you your immediate freedom. To their surprise, they heard a single phrase in a calm response.
Voice response.
We no longer want to be freed. There's a Cockney Englishman.
Enemies in the state. Yes, we have a Cockney guy in Russia.
That was kind of suspicious. Like, I don't even know. I don't even need to know your backstory. I don't want to see your passport. You're coming with us. Oh, I was born in this country. I was. Yeah, sure.
In Soviet Russia, you speak like that, and you live in Russia.
So, what's your name? Oh, my name's Vladimir.
You'll say that in worst Russian voice ever.
Debate broke out among the researchers and the military forces funding the research. Unable to provoke any more response using the intercom, it was finally decided to open the chamber at midnight on the 15th day of the 15th month of the 15th year.
We have 15 months? Shit.
That's a Dave the Barbarian reference.
Don't even remember that show.
I vaguely remember that show.
That show was surprisingly good. Go back and watch it. It was great. All the episodes are on YouTube for free.
Who's the generous soul that does not fear copyright laws?
The chamber was flushed with the stimulant gas, and filled with fresh air. And immediately, voices from the microphones began to object. 3 different voices began begging, as if pleading for the life of loved ones, to turn the gas back on. The chamber was open, and the soldiers were sent in to retrieve the test subjects. They began to scream louder than ever, and so did the soldiers when they saw what was like inside. They were holding a furry convention. It was horrifying. There was pictures of fucking Sally Acorn and My Little Pony stuff. Like, My Little Pony didn't even exist.
Man, those good things weren't even created yet, and they were already there.
So the proto-furries would be fetishizing Bugs Bunny. Like, Bugs Bunny foot porn.
How do you know there wasn't porn of that one Tom and Jerry cat?
Oh, God. Yeah, the one. There was only one ever cat on that show, ever. And
I only remember one female cat. Do you remember more?
Wait, there are females on that thing?
Talking about.
Four of the 5 subjects were still alive, although no one could rightly call the state of any of them in life. What? Okay.
Hang on, what?
Pulse?
I mean,
Someone seems alive to me.
I mean, like, again, this kind of this once again that flies in the face of the kind of dry bureaucratic tone that this is kind of working towards, because this is like I guess the narrator injecting their personal mindset into the story, and it doesn't, like, if this was from the perspective of someone who was there and documenting it and like recalling it from memory, then I think it would be interesting, but it doesn't help.
It seems more like the logs that would officially be, on the record or whatever.
That was an episode of Tom and Jerry kill themselves because their girlfriends leave them from other men. Yeah, I remember that episode. And they show that to kids, and that makes me very happy.
Suicidal ideation, yeah!
Remember when fucking Nostalgia Critic like, was that the last episode of Tom and Jerry? Obviously not. Fucking Matt Pat wannabe.
If anyone wants to be Matt Pat, you need to be fucking taken out the back and shot.
If that's a prerequisite to being Matt Pat, by the way. You gotta blow your brains out.
He somehow survived being taken out.
Why do you think his theories are so fucking stupid? Is because there's a hole in his brain where the fucking 12 gauge scooped out any critical thinking ability.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just imagine him slurring like, Ness's sans Undertale. Okay, the chamber was
making it annoying enough.
The food rations past day 5 had not been so much as touched. There were chunks of meat from the dead test subject's thighs and chest stuffed in a drain in the center of the chamber, blocking the drain and allowing 4 inches of water to accumulate on the floor. Precisely how much of the water on the floor was actually blood was never determined. You called it water, though.
Yeah, you called it water, so I'd assume not that much of it was blood.
It's like that,
if any.
Like, I don't know, like, you played Fallout New Vegas before?
I've played some of it.
There's like this cave you go into where like coyotes. It kind of like hints that coyotes have been like killing people and like dragging them off into the cave, and you go in there, and there's like a puddle of like blood by this corpse, and it counts as irradiated water, like non-irradiated water, and you can drink it, even though it's like bright. It's like dark red, but it's the game treats it as just regular water.
I call that an oversight.
What is this horrendous dream video you speak of? What are you talking about? Like
I think they're still on the coma theory thing.
What?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I think he's talking about Dream, the Minecraft YouTuber who thinks it's a good idea to cultivate a fan base that will.
Now nobody gets there. Are you happy?
That's your sister doing.
That's not me.
That would be me.
Oh.
Or my mom, rather. She's yelling at her cats.
Like I was saying, yeah, Dream is... I don't know anything about him. I don't like how he, like, basically gives his fan base carte blanche to sexualize him. Like, I don't know, like, maybe it's just me. I think it's a terrible idea to cultivate that kind of culture within your fandom.
What are you talking about? Don't you want your fans to make you out to be some sort of sex god?
No.
Especially if
well,
you're
too
just
bad.
a Minecraft YouTuber.
Yeah, especially someone who plays a game that's primarily meant for kids. Like,
that's not weird at all.
And like to the point where we're talking about MatPat's video, like honestly, yeah, MatPat's a dick rider. I don't give a fuck about like if he defended Dream. Is he talking about him defending Dream, like the cheating accusations? I don't even care about that. I care about the fact that Dream's a fucking moron, and I think that he's asking for trouble, and I think it's sus as hell when he fucking constantly gives the okay to his fans for like drawing like smut of him. And not even like I'm not even talking about like smut. I'm also talking about like people who are into like sadism, like drawing him getting like vivisected and shit. And he's like
that shit is really horrific.
My fans, I don't want to tell them that they can't express themselves creatively. Like if someone is getting off on the thought of me getting killed, I think I would raise a stink about it and tell them if you come within 5 feet with me, I'm gonna hollow your head out with a 12 gauge. Like, you can't talk...
You can have guns in New York? Wow.
Don't rub it in. They began to scream...
Nah, don't worry. I'm pretty sure Callie's next.
Well, of course... Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Fucking weird pinko hippie state.
What time is your appointment?
It was at like 9 a.m. or something.
Oh, shit.
Oh, boy. That means you have to sleep.
Well, we'll try to get past this very quick. Food ration, but okay.
It's 2:30 p.m. No worries.
The destruction of flesh and wait.
I don't need to sleep.
For all 4 surviving test subjects had the lower portion of their muscle and skin torn away from their bodies. The destruction of flesh and exposed bone on the fingertips indicated that the wounds were inflicted by hand and not with teeth, as the researchers initially thought. The closer examination of the position and the angles of the wounds indicated that most, if not all of them, were self-inflicted. The abdominal organs below the ribcage... The abdominal organs beneath the ribcage of all 4 subjects had been removed, while the heart and lungs and diaphragm remained in place. The skin and most of the muscles attached to the ribs had been ripped off, exposing the lungs through the ribcage. All of the blood vessels and organs remained intact.
You should be dead.
Yeah, I feel like a scientist would have a field day with this.
Like, well,
Anyone
they'll be excited.
anatomy.
Oh shit! Wow. But
No, I mean
This
just
guy's still alive after carrying out most of his internal organs.
that's heavy metal as fuck, dude.
it also kind of, again, we're gonna bring this back to the point we made earlier. What is the end goal of this? What are they hoping to achieve? Like, I'm not saying that we need some definitive, but I would like to. I think it kind of lends a little bit of credibility to the fact that, like, this kind of shit happens, and it's like, okay, we talk to the higher ups.
Yeah, this kind of thing happened during prisoner of war situations, like, you know, Unit 731 we just brought up. It's just like, what is the end goal of, you know, infecting these people with syphilis? I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
Because no one wants to be infected with syphilis, but it's poorly understood.
Yeah,
so we may as well do it on prisoners of war.
And then we'll study the effects. But I'm mostly saying in the world, like, when I first read this, I'm like, okay, like, at this point, I'm just imagining a scenario where the researchers go to the higher ups of what they found of these prisoners tearing themselves apart. It's like, okay, we initially wanted to use this as a means to keep our men like active on the battlefield, like, you know, psychologically, so they don't have to rest. But seeing the effects, we can probably use this as some kind of like weapon of war, like, and like, you know, kind of like how nerve gas works. We'll launch it over enemy lines and watch them basically fall apart over the course of a few days because they can't get sleep, and like something like, I'm just imagining something like that. I'm not saying that it needs to be explicit. I'm mostly talking about the some things should, like, at the very least, be implied to add a little bit of realism.
Yeah, an end goal for this gas would have been nice. But instead it's just like, hey, Dmitri, we have gas. Use it on prisoner.
Da.
Is that all you know how to say, you asshole? Da.
Da.
I miss my da. He walk away to get milk, he never come back. The blood vessels and organs remain intact. They just had been taken out and laid on the floor, fanning around as the eviscerated and still living body of the subject. I don't know, like, I know that's disgusting to visualize. It's probably horrifying, but it's just, when you say fanning around, I don't know why that sounds funny to me. His intestines bravely...
Just like, hang on, my shirt's covered in sweat. Let me just fan it out real quick. Something like that. That's kind of funny.
Fucking... Got all this blood on my intestine. He just wrings it out like a towel.
I imagine it's like just sort of splayed out in this like floral pattern. Like, oh, he made a rose. That's actually really nice.
Tutorials, what are you doing in the chat?
Like, God damn it, he's an artist.
The detective tract, the digestive tract of all four can be seen working, digesting food, this disgusting food. It quickly became apparent that what they were digesting was their own flesh, as that had been ripped off and eaten over the course of a few days. I mean,
well, you were right. That is disgusting food.
I mean, I was about to question how they would be able to, like, know they're eating flesh, but considering that there's flesh missing and there's probably not that much, it's not strewn about, I guess that's a logical conclusion. Most of the...
Pretty much.
Maybe they just tore it off and flushed it down the toilet.
I mean, why not?
Like, this is like
our digestive system's in toilet now.
I'm really...
Save time from pooping!
It's very self-conscious about my weight, and it's like an extreme form of bulimia. Like that fucking scene from one of the Saw films where, like, they had to put weight on the scale and that lady lops her arm off.
I feel like there hasn't been enough funny Russian accents in this video, but I also feel like this story hasn't given that much to make fun of.
There really isn't. This is one of the most boring popular stories there is.
Yeah, it's just... Like, I can kind of see why it's popular, because it's sort of safe, I guess.
I like... Let's admit, like, when it comes to the kind of landscape that Creepypasta found in it so far, like, even along the side, you see, like, Squidward's suicide and fucking Jeff the Killer. Like, this stands out. This is... It's
like, oh yeah, it's clearly of superior quality to that, but that's not exactly a high bar to jump over.
Hold on, I'm reading the chat. Someone made fan art of Tommy in it with limbs and the head as a chair, and Dream and Tommy as limb eyes tape. What the fuck?
Person is disturbed. Let's keep going.
I hate Dreams fans. And I don't trust him. I think there's some shit's gonna come out about him.
I hate fans in general. Yes, I hate all of my fans, but I'm glad they stick around. I still hate you.
Vince, I just hate your fans.
I mean, well, they kind of deserve it. They're following me. Again, like, you could be watching fucking FSoaS.
Oh no, they're following a black man.
Wow.
That's always gone well historically.
Well, I'm ending the stream. You're hurting my feelings. It quickly became apparent. Okay, most of the soldiers were Russian operatives at the facility, but still many refused to return to the chamber to remove the substance. So considering the kind of shit that was going on in that time period, I get the feeling that they probably seen worse.
I mean, yeah.
They continue to scream to be left.
This is fucking Russia during the 40s. It doesn't get that much worse than that.
You either go in there or you get unpersoned. They continued to scream to be let in the chamber and alternately begged and demanded to have the gas turned back on lest they fall asleep, ellipses. To everyone's surprise, the test subjects put up a fierce fight in the process of being removed from the chamber. One of the Russian soldiers died from having his throat ripped out. Another was gravely
From a guy that has no muscle, he ripped out your throat.
Well, I guess I think the idea is that the gas-based stimulant is like doing something to their like basically running on adrenaline, and like their bodies are like going on some weird shit. Like I could suspend my disbelief and like believe that this weird shit is like doing something to their bodies to where like they can
Making
actually.
You have
really
guns, don't you? Just shoot them.
You can well I don't know. Maybe you can make some kind of line where the scientists demand that they bring them out safely because they're still doing research to show how callous they are about the soldiers being killed.
I don't know.
And one other was gravely injured by having his testicles ripped off. Why did he go into the chamber naked? God damn it, Larry, we told you about that. I do not like wearing pants while I kill people.
No. You need to do it higher pitched.
This is like General...
I do not like wearing pants while I kill people.
There you go.
Like fucking, what's his name? General Butt Naked. Remember that guy?
I don't remember General Butt Naked.
He's the guy...
Another poor example of following a black man.
How many people, like, what was it, 10,000 people that he killed and, like, sacrificed to Satan and ate their hearts and killed children? And now he's a pastor at church and is like, I seek forgiveness in God. Like, at what point...
Yeah, God's absolutely gonna forgive you for all that.
Like, imagine...
All you gotta do with that.
What would you do if, like, you died and you saw him at the pearly gates? Like, oh, hello, welcome. Like, wouldn't you have some questions? Like, it's like that fucking robot.
Damn, when the hell did this literal Satan, his cult guy that sacrificed children to the goat lord to get into heaven? Oh, he asked for forgiveness and we gave it to him. Okay.
Like that fucking robot chicken sketch. Hold on, let me play some.
Holy shit! I'm in heaven!
Like that robot chicken sketch, he goes to heaven and he sees all these people.
I know which one you're talking about.
And it's like, he runs into Hitler, he's like, I'm just as surprised as you were. Hold on. I'll play him. Let's see how loud that is. Some background music from Mother Russia Bleeds. That's a fun game, by the way. You should buy it. It's pretty cheap.
No.
Although it's bullshit difficult.
Yep.
Okay, where were we? Who was something murder? In the process of preparing the more. Everyone's surprised. Okay, another 5 soldiers lost their lives if you count the ones that committed suicide in the weeks following the incident. No, you wouldn't. You would not count them.
Yeah, just count the ones that actually did die, please.
In the struggle, one of the 4 living subjects had his spleen ruptured and bled out almost immediately. Little known fact, one of the fucking...
Oops, I accidentally stepped on his spleen.
One of the researchers, one of the fucking prisoners of war was like a descendant of, like one of the ancestors of Boss Rutan. Fucking rupturing livers left and right. I don't like that no one got that joke.
Such an obscure reference.
Watch Pancreas, god damn it.
Okay.
Watch MMA.
Nah.
I have my own pancreas.
I hate you so much, Fish. Is the music too loud, by the way? Anyone tells me?
Well,
I'm asking
I'm
chat.
watching this muted. I can't watch the. I'm not listening to it.
Well, no one asked you, Damien, you son of a biatch.
Well,
you said anyone, so I'm answering as anyone.
You're not a person in my eyes.
Oh.
You've been on.
You have failed me for the last time. I
will open Adobe Photoshop and erase you from photo.
Oh, I'm sorry. I tried to bring you coffee cold like you wanted, but you know.
I wanted warm coffee, you idiot.
Like that's the one thing that's. I'm not like I want to know what's the pettiest shit that Stalin ever killed someone for. Oh, how are you doing, Mr. Stalin? Is like. Mr. Huh? Did you just guess my gender? The most researchers attempted to sedate. The medical researchers attempted to sedate him, but this proved impossible. He was injected with more than 10 times the human dose of morphine derivative, and still fought like a corner animal, breaking the ribs and arm of one doctor. Oh my. This is why you don't have fucking cage fighters as prisoners of war. Shit goes wrong. Like, this is the early Russian UFC. The tiny little Brazilian man in the corner that just chokes people out all day. When a heart was too big to... Like, what am I reading? When a heart...
When a heart...
Let me put on my serious reading glasses. This is glasses I put on when I'm serious about reading. And you should be serious about reading, because reading is fun.
No, it's not. It's boring as hell.
Reading bad. Me watch movie. Watch good superhero movie like Black Panther.
The movie that taught me that the way to a successful country is xenophobia and nationalism.
Also spear chucking.
Yes, Nazism.
Also, we're gonna call this white dude that just happened to show up like a colonizer, even though they did not colonize our country.
They colonized black people. That's close enough, I guess. Because, you know, black people are all the same.
I hate Black Panther so much. I don't hate the character, because he was cool in Civil War.
He was cool in Civil War. I was looking forward to his movie, and they betrayed me.
They betrayed me. I'm fed up with his world. I still think, well, the problem with Black Panther, I feel they were such a rush to put out a Black Panther movie before, what was it, Infinity War or Endgame?
Infinity War.
Like, it's been a while, I don't even remember.
Doopy, that was Endgame.
When Heart was seen to, when Heart
was seen.
Was it Heart from Fist was seen to beat for a full 2 minutes after he had bled out, to the point where there was more air in his vascular system than blood. Even after it stopped, he continued to scream and flay for another 3 minutes, struggling to attack anyone in reach and repeating the word "more" over and over, weaker and weaker, until he finally fell silent.
Okay, so he has the headless chicken thing going on. Cool.
The 3 surviving test subjects were heavily restrained and moved to a medical facility. The 2, with intact vocal cords, continuously begging for the gas and demanding to be kept awake. These ellipses annoy me.
They really are.
Because, I'm not completely invested in it, although, to be fair, it's mostly because we're just, riffing off of the shit constantly and going on tangents. But for the most part, this story has at least kept me relatively engrossed. But anytime you put those ellipses in there, it's I don't think it completely detracts from the story, but it takes...
Writing that story, fucking Cloud.
Hey, Cloud actually had a personality until those fucking spin-off games. Basically...
I actually haven't played any Final Fantasy games.
Cloud
I thought Cloud's fantasy.
Cloud's
fantasy. Cloud's personality was just Mopey's piece of shit.
No, that's Cloud in every other game but the game he originated from. Go back and play. Cloud is not nearly as like emo as people make him out to be in the original game. He actually like cracks jokes and shit.
I don't have time to. I don't have 100 hours to sit down with a PS1.
Now, if we're talking about Squall, on the other hand, for Final Fantasy VIII, yeah, he is a mopey piece of shit. The most injured of the three was taken to the only surgical operating room in this facility. There's only one? Wait.
So why?
I mean, I'd imagine in Soviet Russia at the time they didn't have a lot of medical advancements going on.
Yeah, but
it was all industrialization.
Yeah, but in an area that I guess like is specifically meant for experimentation and whatnot, you think they would be like better souped up, wouldn't they? And they had the means to make this like this chamber and whatnot.
Stalin only gives a shoestring budget.
The only color is crayon brown.
Not shoestring budget. You get that little anklet, whatever it's called, aglet. That's what it's called. The little fucking plastic tip on the end of shoelaces, and their purpose is sinister.
Wait, what?
That was fucking question reference, you heathen. In the process of preparing the subject to have his organs placed back into his... Wait, what?
Yeah, remember most of the subjects had ripped out their own organs and were left mostly skeletal with their nerve systems?
Yeah, I remember that, but...
Like, why would you put them back in if they're functioning without them?
Yeah, like, don't you think that this
because imagine releasing them back into the wild like that.
Who said they're going to be released at all? Like, remember, they were promised falsely that they would be let go if they participated. They had no intention of letting these people leave.
Yeah, again, like, I would study them in that stage. Not just like, oh, we gotta put these guys back together again.
Look, we are evil scientists, but we have to have standards.
Piotr keeps wailing like baby.
As a man, Dr. Mangala working in, like, doing the horrible experiments, someone calls one of the Jews the K-word, and is like, hey, we're scientists, we're not anti-Semites. He said,
help me cut him open.
He says that he's like...
I can't get my accents.
Okay.
Even the Nazis have standards, yeah.
Thanks, Mengel.
They furiously fought against the restraints. Wait, what was it? Process preparing. They found effectively immune to the sedative they get and prepared to put him down for surgery. He fought furiously against the restraints when the anesthetic gas was brought out to put him back under. He managed to tear most of the way through the 4-inch wide leather strap on one wrist, even though he had the weight of a 200.
You can rip out a guy's throat? How the hell can you not tear it through a leather strap?
Leather's pretty tough.
And also, the human body is a lot weaker than... Then again, like... No, the human body, like, it doesn't take much to... We're basically like balloons filled with blood and organs. You poke someone once with a sharp enough stick.
I'd imagine leather's not that much stronger than human skin.
Yes.
Are
you kidding?
No, it was just me speaking from experience. I got this belt that was too small. And so I pretty much had to like cut a hole in it so that I can actually, make it fit around my waist. And it took fucking ages, because all I had was like a little pocket knife. Like, I could tear into someone's fucking arm with a pocket knife if you gave me enough time.
Like, it sounds fucked up, but imagine, like, one of the ways that people actually tying someone's legs and arms between two horses and like having them run different directions.
Yeah, drawing a quarter.
Yeah, like imagine that shit. That wouldn't really work that well with a leather. Like if it's just a thick leather strap, like you would see like. I don't think they would even be able to get away from each other, right?
Probably not.
So yeah, like it's not the leather strap. Like it's not too much of a leap of logic.
I'll give it a pass.
You get one. We'll give you a gold star for using a leather strap.
I'll give it a silver star.
But the 200-pound soldier sitting on his wrist as well. Sitting on his wrist. Just get fat. Mirchip, or whatever his name is, to sit on his wrist real quick. It took little more anesthetic to put him under, and the instant his eyelids fluttered and shut closed, his heart stopped. In the autopsy of the test subject that died on the operating table, it was found that his blood had tripled the normal level of oxygen. Well, shouldn't that make him be able to kill vampires? Because he had the power of the sun.
Well, he's got a bunch of oxygen that at least kills gay priests.
That was a mother-humping JoJo reference. Like, comment, subscribe. His muscles were still attached to a skeleton and were badly torn. He had broken 9 bones and struggled to not be subdued. Most of them were from the force of his own muscle that exerted on them. Well, when's the guy gonna come in with a steel sphere and like spin it really fast and like put it on top of them to make them go to sleep? That's another JoJo reference.
Oh my god, was it?
Are you guys not entertained?
No.
My friends got into JoJo and it kind of like took a lot of wind out of it for me because he got really into Part 8, which I haven't read yet. Just like, I don't want to talk about Part 8 so much. I'm just like, I don't care. I'm waiting until it's done. Stop.
We need to do that. Get around to doing that fucking Stan tier list at some point.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
And talk about how the greatest Stan of all time is obviously that fucking one that caused people to turn into shonen characters and kill each other with fighting moves.
Wait, I don't remember that one.
The one that in Part 6.
You mean Bohemian Rhapsody?
Is that what it was called? Where it's like those weird little...
Well, they turned to fairy tale.
You keep talking about JoJo, and yet I keep thinking about Freddie Mercury with his arms crossed singing.
They're probably... I could imagine like a Freddie Mercury looking guy in JoJo. And it's a direct reference. Because fucking Araki is Araki is...
How many guys already look like David Bowie?
Yes. The second survivor had been the first in the group to start screaming. His vocal cords were torn and he unable to beg or object to surgery, and he only reacted by shaking his head violently in disapproval when an anesthetic gas was brought near him. Every time someone says shaking their head in disapproval, I just think of like the Mutongo finger whap. No, no, no.
Not today. They started airing that commercial again.
Say.
I like Mutombo, so I like that commercial. Well, it's a one genuinely funny meme.
Like they did it. They made one good commercial.
Out of
Congrats, Geico.
So anytime someone says they shake their head like in a horror story, just imagine Mutombo. Like we need to put him under so we can get him sedated. No, 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 not in my house. Like little did they know they had actually taken one of the prisoners of war was like a 7'3" tall, dark-skinned man with a very thick Nigerian accent. We thought it was kind of suspicious that he was walking around.
You tell me Cockney man is Russian, and you tell me this tall black man is Russian.
Fuck your dog.
Damn it, Dimitri, you must check birth certificates.
Duh.
Okay. Shook his head. He shook his head, shook his head, yes.
This isn't Norway, or wherever that is.
Viewers watching at home, and also Fish and Damien, yes. Please try to shake your head. Yes, that's a shake your head. Yes, challenge. Just say nod. It's one word.
Nod.
I'm so dizzy.
Reluctantly, they tried a surgery without any anesthetic, and did not react for the entire 6-hour procedure of replacing these abdominal organs and attempting to cover them what remained of his skin. The surgeon presiding stated repeatedly that it should be medically possible for the patient to still be alive. Oh, that's good.
Yay!
It's medically possible.
Hey.
I think you meant something else.
Yeah, I'm sure he did, but yay!
It's just this guy, like, it should be alive.
This guy can medically still live.
That's horrifying.
Even though his nerves are hanging out, bone is exposed, and all of his internal organs are strewn about on the floor. But he can medically live.
One terrified nurse.
Hey, he's got a chance.
One terrified. Well, he's got like triple the level of oxygen in his blood, and oxygen is good. You need that to live, so he'll be fine.
Yeah, but too much of something can also be lethal, can't it?
No.
No.
Who told you that?
Water intoxication.
I went to the University of Smirnov. Don't tell me how to do my job.
Yeah, these are Russians. They can handle it. They can handle anything.
Oh yeah. One terrified nurse assisting the surgery stated that she had seen the patient's mouth curl into a smile several times whenever his eyes met hers. That reminds me of that story.
Oh no, he loves me.
No. He's a simp.
No, that's Ash Ketchum.
One terrified patient, one terrified nurse assisting the surgery said that the patient repeatedly tried to hand her money, and kept motioning towards her feet.
Take my red super chat, please.
Step on my face.
They keep asking to sit on their face.
When you get to feet fetishists, like, you know, they'll take it.
Come on, what's the more common fetish, ass or feet?
What's that webcomic where it's like those?
I have to believe it's feet.
What was that webcomic?
Oh, you mean the stone toss guy? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the boobs and butt guy shaking hands.
They shake and then they look at the feet guy.
It's like a hunched over like freak.
Ricky Berkowitz looking dude, yeah.
Notables, you're not really missing much. We're getting to the part where the horror is happening, and the horror.
The spooks.
How dare you?
The spooky ookies.
How dare you? The surgery ended when there was someone that actually got in trouble because he it was a college professor.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
hero. Well, I was the one that narrated it.
There was there was a university professor that got in trouble because he used the term spooks in a colloquial term, as in, you know, ghost or specter or something like that, and they thought that he was using a slur.
Oh yeah, because spook can mean black person.
I mean, no, it can't, because that's a slur, you racist bastard.
Well, you're not trying hard enough.
God damn it. When surgery, like that other guy that got in trouble because he said, I think an Asian name, I think it was like, it sounded like nigga. It was like Niga, and he actually almost lost his job because he said a fucking name.
That just means you in Korean.
I hate you.
Well, what do you expect? I'm trying to be a linguist here, damn it!
No, I thought you meant that just meant Naji in Korean.
No, it means no, it means the word you.
I was like fucking when I was reading Sonichu with Sean and
racism where there is none. You need to open your eyes.
It reminded me of that bit where Sean did when we were reading Sonichu. He said everything went black, and he said everything went Naji. Of all the people I gave black cards with, Sean was the happiest to receive his.
Of course you will.
Oh, when the surgery...
You give a man like that free reign over anything, he'll freaking abuse it.
I think it's because he's Canadian. I think Canadians are just like secretly based, and they've been waiting for years to get permission. When the surgery ended, the subject...
As long as you stay away from Quebec, apparently.
I've been told that everyone hates Quebec because they're basically giant douchebags.
I believe it.
When surgery ended and the subject, at the surgery, he began to wheeze loudly, attempting to talk while struggling. Assuming that this must be something of drastic importance, the surgeon handed him a pen and pad fetched so the patient could write his message. It was simple. Keep cutting. The other two test subjects were given the same surgery, but while anesthetic as well. although they had to be injected with a paralytic for the duration of the operation. The surgeon found it impossible to perform the operation while the patients laughed continuously. Once...
You suck! Wow, you hold a scalpel like a baby!
What are you, a girl?
You gonna go cry to your mom?
Yes.
Mama's boy!
And just like fucking takes a little straw and starts spitting spit wads at him.
I was imagine like the fucking surgeon's like trying not to cry because he's getting bullied. Like, you look like girl. Like, I do not.
Sir gay means sir, you are gay.
No, it doesn't.
Just brings back lots of flashbacks.
Like fucking. I'm just imagining like Stalin's like sitting in behind a two-way mirror and rolling it like, oh my fucking god. Like while he's like watching his researchers like try to not break down crying because they're getting bullied by these fucking emaciated like corpse people. That lab coat makes you look like a nerd. My mom said it was cool.
I hired babies as doctors.
Hired babies.
So now you got me thinking of Heavy now, thank you. Like Heavy has a...
What sick nonsense babies to operate!
Once paralyzed... Didn't the voice actor for Heavy and Demo pass away?
No, that was the soldier.
No, but is he still around?
The Heavy and Demo?
So.
Yeah, he's still
Okay,
he's
good.
Still kicking.
Wonderful. Yeah, I was not happy to hear Soldier voice actor pass away.
Yeah.
That means we won't get our Team Fortress 3. Which was obviously going to come out sometime in my lifetime.
Obviously.
What would you do with a
Just
Team
like
Fortress sequel?
any update. Huh?
How would you make a Team Fortress 3 even?
If I were Valve, I wouldn't, because that would mean that all the money people spent on hats and weapons and shit is just gone.
They've become...
It's like, oh...
And that police siren agrees with you.
Yeah. This is the busiest street in the fucking world and I want to move.
You babies, Notorious. You babies use little baby scalpel. Use nails like real men. The surgeon found it. Okay, once.
No, use scalpel. Use hammer and sickle.
Once paralyzed, the subjects could only follow the attending researchers with their eyes. The paralytic cleared their system in their system in an abnormally short period of time, and they were soon trying to escape their bonds. The moment they could speak, they were again asking for the stimulant gas. The researchers tried to ask why they had injured themselves, why they had ripped out their own guts, and why they wanted to be on the gas. They wanted to be given the gas again. Only one response was given: "I must remain awake."
I wish I knew why, because right now it just seems like you're being a petty asshole.
Yeah.
Remember that episode of Arthur where Arthur wants to stay up to see this for turn of the new year? Like,
well, I mean, as dumb as that was a reason.
No,
the story doesn't even give us that.
No, I'm imagining like a R-rated version where Arthur's like fucking himself up, ripping a. I must remain awake, Grandma.
I burned off my eyelids
so I could forever see. Arthur is just a killer. Yes. I burned off my eyelids so I could forever see. Fucking DW as Liu. So
I told you not to touch that! Stab.
That is exactly how you don't write a little sister character. Like, what does it say about, like, I loved Arthur when I was younger, and I still kind of do. But how do you fuck up so bad with your moral that every single comment that everyone ever said about that episode is like, finally?
Bitch deserved it.
She broke my shit.
The kid, I don't know any better.
How many times you gotta tell a bitch not to touch it?
Not to, like, to be fair, like, if I had worked on, like, you know how people are with their models, right? Like, the amount of time that you have to put into making one, and, like, you have to focus and whatnot. Like, it takes a lot of effort. and like a lot of time and concentration, and then this little bitch who you told repeatedly not to touch it, like goes and fucks it up, and like she never got punished for it, and you know for a fact she's not going to.
No, why would she be?
She's the baby of the family. Babies deserve to be spoiled.
Reminds me of fucking what was it, Judy Bloom was her name? The Fudge and Super Fudge books.
I think so.
I read those when I was a kid, and Fudge was like this little annoying shit who constantly did shit and got like and fucked with the main character and broke his stuff. He wasn't malicious like DW was, but he was like, you could tell, spoiled. And at one point he fucks up like his school project he worked hours on, and the main character actually goes to his mom like in tears, like, look what he did, and you're not gonna do a damn thing about it. And he like goes and she actually ends up beating Fudge for the first time. The person who wrote that series acknowledged that, yeah, this kid can't get away with doing shit like this because they're gonna fuck up his other kid. Oh wait,
so apparently all you need to do to put a spoiled kid into place is
author the Slaughterer, yes. I'm gonna write that creepypasta right now.
Jeez.
I'm writing it in my head. All the subjects' restraints were reinforced, and they were placed. But why weren't they reinforced in the first place? And they were placed back into the chambers, awaiting determination as to what's going to be done with them. The researchers.
Doctors, be careful. These guys carved open are very men.
So
need little effort. Okay, just hand them in letters, perhaps.
The researchers, facing the wrath of their military.
Use those little twist ties you see in bags of bread.
I can never open them. It's very difficult.
See if they were.
All you have to do is fold one side.
I was imagining, like, yeah, it's fucking.
Really annoying to get into plastic stuff. Like anytime you need to buy a pair of scissors or something, and you need scissors to open the scissors, like that kind of shit, they'd be safe.
Why I bought the freaking package?
Well, that one bit from that fucking Ukraine episode of Simpsons where it's like, oh, look at this shit. There's a coupon for scissors that you need to cut out with scissors. They're facing the wrath of their military benefactors for having failed the stated goals of their project. Considered euthanizing the surviving subjects. Like, what was the extent? So there was a goal. What was it? What was that supposed to do?
Beats the hell out of me.
And they wouldn't just like throw away all the research too. They would like, okay, well, what can we do with this?
Yeah.
Especially during that time.
Like sometimes, like, even if it's not on purpose, I feel like there's an opportunity to gain some knowledge out of, like, you know, a pretty fucked up death.
That's
like, you know, with
failure.
Something I've mentioned. Something I've mentioned in the past a couple times is John Jones in the Nutty Putty Cave. Like, he was upside down for, I think, like 20-something hours, and like, you know, that kind of thing hasn't really happened because, like, hasn't really been studied because, you know, keeping someone upside down for that amount of time would kill them. And that's exactly what happened, is that he just ended up dying.
So we could study the effects that it actually had on him?
Yeah.
Oh, that's... I didn't even know about... I knew about someone died in Nutty Putty Cave. I didn't know he died like that.
Oh yeah, it was horrible. Because he got stuck in, like, this area called the birth canal, which, you know, horrifying just as a start.
Yeah.
Commanding officer in excavation.
How long ago was that incident where he died?
I don't think it was that long ago.
If you guys are just gonna keep talking about it.
Because I don't know why, it just made me think, like, is that... Because if it was, like, a while ago, it made me think, like, did Junji Ito base that whole story off of that incident?
I don't know.
That would be cool. I mean, it would be... No, it wouldn't be cool. It'd be kind of tasteless, actually. No, never mind. If you haven't read that story, by the way, it's really good. Like most of Junji Ito's work.
The Fault one, right?
Yeah.
Really good. This is my hole. It was made for me.
That's what I said to your mom.
Oh no.
if you've suffered from if you're not a fan of claustrophobia, you'll love that story, I guess, if you want to scare yourself. Speaking of which, Fish, why didn't you warn me about how listening to the Caretaker album would fuck me up?
I said it was depressing.
I didn't expect all that. Like, I wasn't expecting to feel legit, like, different afterwards.
Existential dread.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. It's, like I said, it's exactly the kind of music I've been looking for, but you kind of undersold it to me.
I mean, I gave you as much warning as I could. It's fucking depressing.
In the preparation for being seen in the chamber again, wait, hold on. With KGB, did Damien leave? That fucker.
I don't know.
The researchers were facing the wrath of their military benefactor for failed the state. I think did he at least post something in the chat? No, he did not.
Right. How much further in the story did you assholes get?
We stopped streaming because you ruined everything.
Yeah, it's not the same without you.
Oh man, all because I had to use the restroom. Great.
Yeah.
Well, you hold it in until you explode into a cloud of piss.
I'm sorry, I'm not one of the people in this experiment. I can't do that.
The researchers facing the wrath of their military benefactor. The commanding officer and ex-KGB saw the potential and wanted to see what would happen if they were put back on the gas. The researchers strongly objected, but were overruled. Like, there was no ethics board.
By who?
Like, why are you acting like there's an ethics committee in fucking World War II, like...
Post World War II?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you remember when they, like, one of the experiments done that actually did a lot in the field of, life support technology? The fucking dog that had its head cut off and they kept it alive with a machine?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Like, ethics doesn't mean a damn thing to these people.
No.
Not really.
It's science.
In preparation for being sealed in the chamber again, subjects were connected to an EEG monitor and had their restraints padded for long-term confinement. To everyone's
I kind of wish I knew what that meant.
It means fuck you, bitch. That's what EEG. Everyone.
Egg.
It's everyone. Eggs. Gerald. There's a guy named Gerald, and everyone throws eggs at him.
You have to eat all of the eggs.
That is a new experiment. It makes stinky gas to pump more into chamber.
And what is this gas for exactly?
Swallow eggs.
We don't know.
To everyone's surprise, all three stopped struggling the moment it was let slip that they were going back on the gas. It was obvious at this point that all three were putting up a great struggle to stay awake. One of the subjects that could speak was humming loudly and continuously. The mute subject was straining his legs against the leather bonds with all his might. First left, then right, then left again, for something to focus on. The remaining subject... The remaining subject was holding his head off his pillow and blinking rapidly. I don't know if it's a fucked up reference, but I don't know, that just made me think of the dude who was blinking in Morse code. Torture, remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was, what was it, Vietnam he was at?
Probably.
And he was captured and they were trying to have some propaganda video and then forcing him to say that he was doing fine and they were treating him well. And he was being interviewed, and while he's answering the questions of his interviewer, he's blinking the word torture in Morse code. So being able to focus...
And no one knew Morse?
Well, why? They probably just... Because he was just... He acted as if the bright lights of the camera... of the stage, was fucking up his eyesight. So... And all that guy got was like a fucking... He came back to the States, he got a medal because he was a gangster, and that was it. Fuck our country sometimes, man.
Here's a medal. Now go home.
Now I'm home and I'm blind and I'm broke. What is next? They were...
I'll tell you what's next. Crippling debt.
Nice.
They were most of the time flatlined inexplicably. Oh, sorry. Having been the first to be wired to the EEG, most of the researchers were monitoring the brains in surprise, and I read that last line. It looked as if he was repeatedly suffering brain death before returning to normal. They focused on the paper.
I wish I was suffering brain death.
You mean you're not? Ha 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 ha! I called you dumb.
Oh.
As they focus on the paper scrolling, God, you got me fucking thinking of the fucking Caretaker album of the last song. Fuck you, Fish. It's your fault that I chose to listen to that.
How is it my fault?
Because you're white. They focus on the paper scrolling on the brainwave monitor. Only one. As they focus on the paper scrolling on the brainwave monitor, only one nurse saw his eyes slip shut at the same moment his head hit the pillow. His brainwaves immediately changed to that of a deep sleep, and then flatlined for the last time as his heart simultaneously stopped. Is this like a...
Well, at least we know why they don't want to go to sleep now, finally.
Is this a reference to, what was that kid I think in the Philippines or something? Like, it was a story that was based on, that Nightmare on Elm Street was based on. You know what I'm talking about? The kid who, like, desperately wanted to stay awake, and, like, they found, like, things of coffee in his, bedroom, and they didn't know why he was so adamant about it, and then when he finally fell asleep, he died the next day.
Oh.
I think that was the story I think that was the inspiration for, Nightmare on Elm Street, or one of the inspirations. Like, I'm wondering if this is kind of what inspired this, little tall tale.
Yeah, possibly.
The only
just Nightmare on Elm Street inspired this, and they had no idea about any of the other.
And then they made the other sequels, and Freddy got his powers from demonic sperm.
And he got his groove back.
And then Jackie.
And then he used the power glove.
And then he became Jackie O'Hurley. He became Rorschach. They'll ask me, please don't kill me, and I'll say no. The only remaining subject that could speak during the started to scream to be sealed now. His brainwaves showed the same flatlines as the one who had died just from falling asleep. The commander gave the order to seal the chamber with both subjects inside, as well as the 3 researchers. One of the named 3 immediately drew his gun. Why do the researchers have guns?
Beats the hell out of me. Why do they have guns and not the soldiers?
Yeah, that's something I would expect from armed security.
And this shot the commander point blank between the eyes. And when it turned the gun...
This is my self-insert character.
I mean, that would be...
Or no, watch. This is just Dimitri.
Dimitri?
Why?
Why you bring gun to research lab?
Duh. When they turned the gun on the mute subject and blew his brains out as well. He then pointed a gun to the remaining subject. Still restrained to the bed as the remaining members of the medical and research team fled the room. No. They will probably draw their guns as well and blow him, like kill him for killing people senselessly.
Pretty much.
Why did the researchers...
You killed the commander and you suffer no repercussions?
Why did...
No consequence.
Why were the researchers be sealed in the chamber too? Like...
Beats the hell out of me.
Like, maybe it's the commander, like, saying that you failed the intended goal, so this is your punishment, maybe? Like, kind of like an anime villain? You failed me for the last time, Zarbon. Looked in...
Honestly, that sounds like every anime ever to me.
He pointed his gun at the remaining subject. Okay. I won't be locked in here. Not with these things. Not with you! You don't need to be rude, man. It's very inconsiderate. Like, how do you think this guy feels? Like, I don't know. Like, if you don't want to be friends with someone, you gotta at least turn them down nicely.
Yeah, come on. Sasha might not be the best guy to be locked in here with, but there's no need to be cruel about it.
What?
I'm running out of male Russian names.
What are you? He demanded. I must know! The subject... This is the part of the story that I... Like, we ripped on the story for the most part, and it's... I guess it's been kind of weak, I'd say.
Whatever.
It's not terrible, but there have been moments that, like, you feel like it could have been done much, much better. But this is the moment,
pretty much,
specifically, where I point to where any tension that was built up in the story it instantly deflates for me. The ending soliloquy, I guess. The subject's mom. Have you forgotten so easily? The subject asks, we are you. We are the madness that lurks within you all, begging to be free at every moment in your deepest animal mind. We are what you hide from in your beds every night. We are what you sedate into silence and paralysis when you go to the nocturnal haven where we cannot tread. The researcher paused.
What the hell does that mean?
The researcher paused and thought, this pretentious motherfucker, and then he killed him. I asked
pretty
you.
Much.
It's like, imagine that you. I don't know if anyone remembers that fucking Sonic Heroes. You beat the final boss. You're like, why? Why couldn't I beat it? Because we're Sonic Heroes. That doesn't mean it. That doesn't mean anything. What does that fucking mean?
Beats me.
Because we're us.
The EGG flat.
Or you.
The EEG flat line, and the subject weakly choked out. So nearly free. So that was Russian sleep experiment.
Story's over.
So,
Thank God.
What is this comment right here? No more uwu, no more uwu, no more. What the fuck?
I don't know, and apparently no one else does either.
This person said, like, this is really creepy. I'm still trying to understand what happened. Like, it's not really all that complicated.
Yeah.
The problem,
it's kind of dumb.
I would argue that the problem with it is that it's not like really all that in depth as it is.
The gas made them go crazy and they essentially became sleep paralysis demons. So when they're wrong, their body went to sleep, they went bye-bye.
I mean, it feels weird because I feel like I have a lot to talk about, but at the same time, my criticism of this, like, is this?
I had to stop halfway through.
It's just sort of boring.
There's a fair amount. I like this story conceptually. Like I said, I like reading about atrocities of war and like morbid shit like that. And I think this kind of does touch on the visceral aspects of the experiments that probably will be taken place in that era, but
sure.
it doesn't really do anything with the kind of grounded tone that it's supposed to be working with. And when I say grounded tone, I mean like I said, like a SCP style bureaucratic dry science.
Yeah, and I feel like it also doesn't go. Like, the ending is just sort of vague. It's like, we are Fukiukis from the evilness, you know? It's not really saying anything.
I mean, like, if...
Like, interpret it yourself, audience. I don't know.
I think it would have helped...
You want me to make a definitive answer?
I think it would have helped if, like I said before, we had set up the subjects, test subjects as actual, I guess, semi-characters, because you don't want to spend too much time on them because this is supposed to be a relatively short story. And again, if you're going to go for that kind of dry, disinterested tone of narration, like you would just like list off their attributes and who they were as people prior to this experiment and why they were there. And then you set that up and like maybe set out one in particular that catches the researcher's eye because the experiments are having a different effect on him, and like maybe he's the most calm and maybe he's the most paranoid, and at the end when he's speaking calmly despite like tearing himself apart, there's that creepy juxtaposition where it's like, oh shit, like this is not the same person we started the story out as. Like,
yeah, basically something instead of nothing.
I don't like I have a bad habit of I presume the intentions of the author whenever I give suggestions to try to improve the story. But I don't really know because it says right there, author unknown. I don't know what the fuck they were going for. I think it's just fair to assume that they were kind of going for like what I suggested before, where it's like a dry science shit, and that's what I think would benefit the story in the long run, is that make it a little bit longer and actually like spend some time with the test subjects, get to know them. and like you want to establish an air of normalcy before shit goes down, right? Like imagine like a H.P. Lovecraft story where we start out as there was Fred, and then he killed someone and ate their skin. Like okay, slow down.
Wow.
Slow down there, Jack.
Whoa, slow down,
because I can't somebody.
So what did you gentlemen think?
Just sort of bland, I guess. Like,
Boring.
I didn't remember it being that bland.
The fuck is this? What is this? What is
I
this?
thought it was at least better than that, but I just ended up, mostly bored. Not even really much to say.
Well, what do you think of the story? Like, this story is usually held in a pretty high acclaim when it comes to creepypasta. Like, this is considered a classic. I would argue that I guess it kind of deserves that.
It kind of deserves it, but I mean, just like if we're grading on a scale, I suppose it's like a curve, where it's like, okay, here we have, Sonic.exe in the same corner. It's like, okay, well, clearly it's
there was actual
miles ahead of that
effort put into by someone who actually has an understanding of basic storytelling, like, and unlike Jason,
and also ethics.
Yeah, it feels weird because I want to say that it just hasn't aged well, but at the same time, it's like we have a long. It's not like the
stories don't age that much.
Yeah, it's not
like an example I would put of a story not aging well in terms of creepypasta is probably Smile Dog, because that's just a chain letter.
Yeah,
that's not scary. It might have been scary back when chain letters were scary, but that's not anymore.
Well, was it? Are you talking about Smile Dog and that weird one where that guy who goes overseas and like in the plane and runs with that evil dog? You know what I mean?
Like, I just mean like smiledog.jpg or whatever the fuck it's called.
I mean, it was a creepy image, I guess. That's good enough.
Yeah, it's a creepy image, and it's like carried by that alone, pretty much. Which is the same story with something like Jeff the Killer, I'd say, except Jeff the Killer has a much worse story and picture. But it's like, it's sort of iconic at this point, and that's what people think about when they think of Jeff the Killer. They don't think of like, oh, the shitty ass story.
Isn't that weird though? Because I think most people, even Jeff the Killer fans, will like concede if you press them on it. Yeah, it's not a well written story. Like I don't see that phenomenon in any other popular, like Sonic.exe fans will die on that hill. Like, this story is a masterpiece. Well, sure. But just Jeff the Killer,
Sonic fans in general.
Well, yes.
Sonic fans.
Especially the ones from...
They are the way they are.
Especially the ones from Europe, who are also professional actors. So if we had to rate this on a number scale, I would give this story 7 out of 18, I guess. I don't know what that means.
That's like a 5, I guess. That's about what I'd give it.
Because it's not terrible. It's not even bad.
It's not.
I'd give it a 3. It just fails to be engaging.
That's fair.
Well, because the gore parts are, I guess, interesting, and the moments where they're trying to conduct the experiments on the mutilated people are, I guess, something, but it's not enough. Like, gore is not enough.
Like, there's some stuff, but it's just like that's all I'll give it. It's just like, oh, it exists. Like, that's about a 5 out of. It's about a 5 out of 10. Like, that's what I'll give it.
Well, how would you rank this in terms of classic creepypasta? Like, do you think it deserves its place as being like considered a classic?
Like, a classic, one of the better ones, sure.
I hate that we have to, like, we don't have to, but doesn't it suck that we feel the need to grade on a curve? Because it's not like we have no context as to what horror is as a concept. There's a long history of great horror stories that have been put out by like published authors. And I don't want to encourage people into having low standards just because it's an online story and not like published. because we have something to kind of go off, like classic Stephen King novels, H.P. Lovecraft, and Clive Barker.
No, not H.P. Lovecraft anymore because he's racist.
But I can make money off of him though.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, guys, do not look up the name of his cat.
What's the name of his cat? Oh my god!
My oh my, I found you, nigga! Don't you run from me, little nigga! Oh. What? You just calling out his cat? He loves his cat. Leave him alone. I love how people act like that's the end-all be-all thing. It's like, this person at one, he didn't do anything, but he thought this, so therefore and it's not like he went out, like, to my knowledge, did H.P. Lovecraft ever, like, go out and, like, try to promote his views, or is that just how he felt?
I mean, you could argue that, you know, some of his stories have kind of a bend that way. But, I mean, you kind of have to read between the lines almost.
Yeah, but even then, he's not expounding on his worldview. It's just like, it just happens to be reflected in his writing sometimes.
There you go, fish.
What is this shit?
Yeah.
Stop sending him to the link to the story. That's rude.
Yes, how dare I get him caught up?
So, I'm actually interested and excited to read this. Can we break this up into parts? As in, we'll all take turns reading? Would that be kosher with you gentlemen?
No.
Oh, too bad we're doing it.
Okay.
That means that, Damien, you have to sit in the corner like the cuck you are. You don't get to read.
Well, at least it lets me get food.
Who said you get to eat, bitch? I told you, this is socialist paradise. That's like Ash Ketchum land.
Exactly.
God, but I'm too old. He doesn't want me here.
No, he wants his fucking mommy waifu Misty. God, that's...
Wouldn't you?
I want to know what that guy's doing after he, like, is he still writing stuff? I really like to know. I'm not even saying that to bully him or anything like that. I'm curious to see how he improved.
Yeah.
I mean, after all the shit that we've said, I doubt he is.
How you doing, Notorials? You're back. Notorials posted in the chat. Send me super chats, even though I don't have that set up. But send me money anyway.
Send me money and I won't give it to him.
Let me... who wants to...
Yes, he simped for the Vince.
I mean, who wouldn't? So,
I mean,
who wants...
have you heard us?
It's been a... I don't recall ever reading this story personally. I remember, like, listening to, like, you know, those creepypasta narration videos back in the day. And I recall this being very good. But, you know, I'm going based on memory here. So we're going into uncharted territory for me. Any of you remember the story? Or reading the story?
I definitely remember having read it.
What about you, MD Phantasm?
Yeah, I read it.
Yeah, hero number 06. I hope you enjoyed the stream so far, and I'll make sure to keep it posted just for you, specifically for you. No one else. No one else is allowed to rewatch a stream. If anyone, I will dox you and DMCA you if I find out you're rewatching the stream. It's only for one man or lady. I don't know.
Good evening, boxing
Jesus
fans.
fucking Christ, my ears!
What?
I accidentally played. I tried to look at something. I accidentally played a video.
Oh no.
Oh no, he played Aqua.
It was a boxing video. I like boxing.
Close enough.
Hold on, let me... I just remembered that I forgot. I need to check this stupid thing so I can... Did I have this? I think I have it enabled. Because I don't know why they have it so, like, chat replay isn't automatically, like, already clicked. Because why wouldn't I want to know what the chat's... Like, imagine coming into a stream and the chat replay isn't there, so this guy's just, like, talking and interacting with people that you can't see.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Makes him sound sound crazy.
I guess for people who care about that stuff, if chat is being kind of racist or whatever, then I guess.
Yeah, but I think they would be more likely to...
RP?
As if chat's being
Yeah,
racist.
that's what I said, for people who care about that kind of stuff. We don't care about that kind of stuff, you fucking honky.
I hate black people so much. Wait, who am I racist towards again?
You're
Everyone.
Yeah. Like, when in doubt, just go for whatever works, man. Do what you feel.
do with what's topical, which is currently Asians, apparently.
I don't understand.
But the difference is Asians deserve it.
Damn.
See, that's topical. That's how you do it.
Let me start by saying that Peter Terry was addicted to heroin. I hear the name.
Good start.
I hear the name Peter Terry, and I think of Terry Davis. Damn it! I'll talk about how they glow in
Maybe that's his full name.
You're talking about how black people glow in the dark, and you have to run them over with your car.
Oh yeah, those glow-in-the-dark CIA.
I'm only talking about Shav. We can dig it. We were friends in college and continued to be after I graduated. Notice I said he dropped out after 2 years of barely cutting it. And he subsequently did not have to pay student loans, so I guess he got out of it before he was the smart one between us. I say that...
Yeah, he realized he didn't need a degree to pursue liberal arts.
I remember become an English major, or I could not do that.
The funny thing is, those, like, all the shit that I don't care about college. I wouldn't go to college personally, but if college were free, the things that I would go for are the things that don't pay well at all, like literature and psychology.
Yeah.
After I moved,
I'm pretty much taking the end of Orange County. I don't need a degree to be a writer.
After I moved out of the dorms and went into a small apartment, I didn't see Peter much. We would talk online every now and then. And AIM was the king of was king in pre-Facebook years.
AOL.
I don't know what that is. Is that back when video game systems didn't exist and were made up with radar equipment?
Dial-up internet was still a thing.
Over here.
They were made out of radar equipment and they were called Pong. Remember that I think Nolan Bushell, the godfather of video games, once did an interview because of how wrong the irate gamer had gotten facts about his game console.
Really?
Yes.
Aren't you guys talking about the Odyssey or something?
Isn't that amazing? Yes, but isn't that amazing though? The guy who, if it wasn't for him, there would be no video games, had to come out and call like, yeah, this guy's full of shit.
What is this? A video game console or a test of patience?
What is this? An essay or a test of patience? I do love irate gamer now.
I mean, for the wrong reasons.
Yes,
but, yeah.
yes. I mean, let's not take it away. The guy was an absolute fucking douchebag in the past, and people kind of whitewash that now. Like,
yeah, but it's funny.
Given all the shit that's on the internet nowadays, yeah.
Irate gamer never pretended that his girlfriend was hit by a car to drum up attention on YouTube.
Yeah?
He did pretend to be his mom in the comment section a few times. That was weird.
That is weird.
There was a period where he wasn't online for about 5 weeks straight. I wasn't worried. He was a pretty notorious flake and drug addict, so I assume he just stopped caring. And then one night I saw him log on before I could.
He was busy watching irate gamer videos.
I mean, dude, he's funnier than AVG, and he didn't swear nearly as much.
Yeah.
Remember when he tried to censor his videos, like with actual like bleeps? That wasn't very smart.
Who, Chris or James?
James, it was Chris. Because James wouldn't do that because he's not stupid.
Yeah.
And then he fucking... never forget that irate gamer was a part of the partner program before James Rolfe was, too.
That's depressing.
He was one of the first, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. Well, not the one... Yeah, I think it's fair to say. And he would use that to send people to basically harass people on different channels. Before I could initiate a conversation, he sent me a message. David, man, we need to talk. That was when he told me about the NoEnd house. And that's why, to defeat the enemy, I must become Superman 4, the quest for peace.
Oh, that's what I call that.
He said the title, guys! It's gonna be a good story!
It got that name because no one had ever reached the final exit. The rules were pretty simple and cliche. Reach the final room of the building and you win $500. There were 9 rooms There were 9 rooms in all. The house was located outside the city, roughly 4 miles from my house. Apparently Peter had tried and failed. He was a heroin and who knows what the fuck addict, so I assumed that the drugs had got the best of him and he had wigged out at a paper ghost or something. That's presumptuous. That's kind of rude, actually.
Yeah, that's mean as hell.
Just because your friend is a heroin addict, you go assuming that he's crazy and paranoid.
Over those little stuffed paper ghosts.
He told
that any preschooler could make.
Spooky was this the inspiration for Spooky's House of Jump Scares?
That's what I just said.
I repeated your joke, and then it's mine now.
Damn, is this the true meaning of reparations?
Yes, I take your jokes and I make them my own. That's why Carl's Mencia got away with it until people find out.
That's the meaning of Amy Schumer. What are you talking?
Ooh, you take that back.
If you ever, and I mean ever, compare me to Amy Schumer again, I will personally make the trip down to California.
I say this as someone who's been ribbing Vince this entire fucking stream. Like, you take that back.
That's the line you won't cross, huh?
I actually made a video and I didn't release it of like, I was playing video games while listening to Amy Schumer's stand-up special, and I would like stop playing the game when I laughed. And I was getting progressively angrier as the stream got on, or the video went on, because I was getting angry at how not funny the jokes were. It's like
do laughs of frustration count? Like when you laugh?
I didn't even do that. I was legitimately like getting pissed off because there would be decent setups for jokes, and then she would fucking ruin it with poor delivery and like have. And by the end of it, I kind of snapped because it was like constant sex joke. And
my vagina.
Joke is vagina.
And when you cap off your stand-up, you usually ended up on a high note, right? It's kind of crescendos, right? It's not necessarily the funniest bit, but it's the one that kind of makes it like you feel like it's the end. And she told a joke, and it was like the same as any other sex joke. As like, we talk about the dirtiest thing we ever did, and their friends were like, oh, I once let him have sex in my butt, and like, oh, I once sucked my boyfriend's dick, and you said like, oh, I once did such and such come all over me, blah 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 blah, and they're like, we weren't talking about those kind of jokes. Like, well, I guess I win, and I was like, and I was waiting for the punchline, and then the special ended.
Oh.
And I think I actually like threw my controller to the side, like fuck this. And I didn't release a video because it was like kind of awkward sitting there watching me play video games, not saying anything, and like visually getting angrier even though I'm doing well at the game. Well, there were 9 rooms. Okay, those apparently. Okay, where were we? He told me that it would be too much for anyone. That was natural. That was unnatural. I didn't believe him. I told him I would check it out the next night, no matter how hard he tried to convince me otherwise. Why would he tell? Wait. Why would Peter?
I told him I would check it out the next night.
No, but why would Peter tell him about it then if he didn't want him to go?
Drugs.
Addict logic.
Like I remember, it reminds me of that fucking thing in Sonic.exe.
Well, I mean, I've kind of done this though. Like you've done this. You've done something terrible, and you kind of want to get something off your chest.
Oh, okay.
So you tell it to someone else, and then you accidentally like get them into it.
That sounds well. Yeah, I guess that makes sense when you put it like that.
I'm pretty sure that's how that fucking album you listened to got big in the first place. Because it's just like, wow, this is really fucking miserable. Everyone else should know about this so that they can be as miserable as me.
That's exactly what Fish said when he first heard it, because he's just not a nice person.
I mean, I didn't tell other people about it because it's like, oh wow.
Yes, it is, hero. Really yes, it is.
I found it by complete accident too. Squidward Suicide still on the popular. I would argue that if there's a lot wrong with Squidward Suicide, but it does better than most of those lost footage cliches because the horror doesn't come from Squidward's.
I mean, it kind of birthed this lost footage cliches, didn't it?
Well, actually, it stole from Suicide Mouse and Dead Bart.
Although I would argue that it's better than both of those two.
I don't know.
Because, like,
oh man, Steven Hillenburg himself came to the viewing and said not to air the episode.
But the horror comes from the fact that there might be a killer on set who just, like, slipped in that shit. And, like, it's still around.
It still feels like kind of aimless and like that has nothing to do with the setup almost.
Well, yeah, I guess when you put it, yeah, I think that's fair.
It was just spooky footage.
But-
there was
but-
no implication
but-
that there was a killer around.
I think I mentioned this in my review. Like, there's no reason for this to be a SpongeBob SquarePants story. Like, you could just as easily make it fucking Rocko's Modern Life Suicide, and it wouldn't make a difference.
But
there's no reason for it to be SpongeBob.
But I'm speaking relatively like in relative terms. I'm saying it's better than Dead Bart. And,
sure.
And Suicide. Although Suicide Mouse, I don't think people really hold him that high acclaim. Like I like the video, believe it or not. I think the video is kind of cool.
I think people do so in terms of just like, oh, it's a classic.
That doesn't mean anything anymore, does it?
No, not
especially in the creepypasta terms. Like when I think of classic movies, I think of Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and stuff that's held in high acclaim. Even stuff that I don't personally like, I would consider classic because of their quality, like E.T.
Sure.
But when it comes,
not huge on the Matrix, but it's a classic.
But when it comes to creepypasta, I don't know why people have such tapered expectations when it comes to creepypasta. We have years of horror to fall back on. It's not like we just magically forgot how it's supposed to be done. Okay, where was I? I didn't believe him. I told him I would go check it out the next night, no matter how hard he tried to convince me otherwise. $500 sounded too good to be true. I had to go. I mean, I would go for $500 is pretty cool. For one night in a haunted house or some stupid shit. I had to go.
You and I are too big of a pussy. You know that.
That's fair. I think, I think I'm too. My cynical nature might. No, then again, it reminds me of that fucking that horror mansion.
It doesn't matter how cheesy something looks to the outsider. When you're in it, it's different.
What about that horror mansion or whatever? You remember that real place where they brutalize the shit out of you, and and it's still open, I think. Like they do
McCaney Manor or whatever it's called.
Yeah, they do legit horrible things to people, and the people pay for the privilege to be abused and like traumatized, basically.
Yeah, McCaney Manor.
I hate them for doing that, but at the same time, it's like, what can I do if people are paying for it? Yeah, exactly. Literally monetizing their sadism, basically.
It's legal torture.
When I arrived, I immediately
you can't get that everywhere.
I immediately noticed something. Have they ever had like a giant fucking masochist go in there and like he isn't scared at all? He's just like getting more and more turned on the more he's getting abused.
Almost certainly.
I'm pretty sure they just didn't record it.
When I arrived, I immediately noticed something strange about the building. Have you ever seen or read something that shouldn't be scary, but for some reason, chill crawls up your spine? I walked towards the building.
We just talked about this.
I walked towards the building, and a feeling of uneasiness only intensified as I opened the front door. I'll say that short story that the movie 1408 was based on. I love 1408, by the way. That's
I've heard of it.
There was one moment in the short story where it kind of set the tone for something's not right with this place. We looked at the door frame, and one side's crooked, and he looks at the other side, and the other side's also crooked. Like, both of them are, like, lopsided somehow simultaneously, and that shouldn't be possible. And that's how he knew that something wasn't right. So minor things like that can, like, immediately offset you, and that's what I kind of like about...
your brain go, like, this is not natural.
The uncanny valley. My brain's melting.
Yeah.
My brain...
Yeah, I think that's why that familiar images with scary music videos started taking off on YouTube for some reason.
My heart slowed and I let out a release... Wait. Oh, wait, okay. Yeah, I'm right. My heart slowed and I let out a released sigh as I entered. The room looked like a normal hotel lobby decorated for Halloween. A sign was posted in place of a worker. It read, "Room 1 this way, 8 more to follow. Reach the end and you win." I chuckled and made my way to the first door. The first area was almost laughable. The decor resembled the Halloween aisle of Kmart, and complete with a sheet ghosts and animatronic zombies that gave a static howl when you passed by. A static growl, excuse me. I don't want to misrepresent the story. At the far end was the exit. It was the only door besides the one I entered through. I brushed through the fake spider webs and headed to the second room. I'm trying to think of how this would function, the house itself. I'm talking about the setup to get people inside and like almost run it like an actual business. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like if there's no one at there, like what's stopping someone from like going and like trying to jump over the counter and like see if they can pilfer something?
Yeah, just cheesing their way through, basically.
Well, you'll see.
I'm assuming it's an Eldritch location, so I guess there's so far like this has done a better job of keeping me engrossed in Russian sleep experiment.
Sure.
Okay. I was greeted by a fog when I opened the door of room 2. The room's definitely up the ante in terms of technology. Not only there was a fog machine, but a bat hung from the ceiling and flew in a circle. Scary. They seemed to have a Halloween soundtrack that one would find in a 99-cent store on loop somewhere in the room. I didn't see a stereo, but I guess they must have used a PA system. I stepped over a few toy rats that wheeled around and walked out with a puffed chest across the next area. I reached...
Puff out your chest.
Look at this badass.
Now say tax exemption.
Tax exemption!
Now you must acquire a taste for freeform jazz.
And the Cowboy Bebop theme plays. I want to know who. I need to find out what song they were playing there, because I know it wasn't some.
I think it was just some royalty-free jazz song. Like, I know you can find it on YouTube.
I reached the doorknob and my heart sank to my... What? I reached the doorknob and my heart sank to my knees. I did not want to open that door. A feeling of dread hit me so hard I could barely even think. Logic overtook me after a few terrified moments, and I shook it off and entered the next room. Room 3 is when things begin to change. On the surface... Began to shut up.
You are misrepresenting the story, Vince.
I'm sorry. My brain started tinged and started to come red and blooding inside my skeleton.
Oh no. That's how you know it's really bad.
On the surface, it looked like a normal room. There was a chair in the middle of the wood panel floor, a single lamp in the corner, and a single lamp in the corner did a poor job of lighting the area, casting a few shadows across the floors and walls. That was the problem. Shadows, plural. With the exemption of the chair, there were others. Of the chairs, there were others. I had barely walked in the door, but I was already terrified. It was at that moment that I knew something wasn't right. I didn't even think to automatically... I didn't even think as I automatically tried to open the door I came through. It was locked from the other side. That set me off. Was someone locking the doors as I progressed? There was no way. I would have heard them. Was it a mechanical lock that set automatically? It was one of those weird European doors that kind of close behind you and lock themselves. Maybe.
There's a spooky sound
Maybe
effect where
it was like one of those hotel doors, but someone was an idiot and just set it on the wrong side.
Yeah.
Like 1408. That's a whole fucking plot behind 1408. It's just, you think it's like some weird eldritch mansion like room that fucks with people, but it's really the guy's drunk and the hotel staff is just lazy and inept.
That's true horror, perceived horror.
One thing I like about that film, I guess, because I really love 1408 the film. I think it's really underappreciated. He's in this eldritch man. The room is trying to get him to kill himself, basically. Like, it's doing horrible things to him. But at the start of it, it's like starting off slow and like doing subtle things. And one of the subtle things it does is leave a complimentary chocolate on the pillow.
Ooh.
Yummy.
I'm going to fuck your head up and like remind you of your dead daughter and like rip everything away from you. But you know, I'm going to accommodate your needs the best I can.
I have standards.
I'm still a hotel room, damn it.
Here.
But I was too scared to really think. I turned back to the room, and then the shadows were gone. The chair's shadow remained, but the others were gone. What? I think I read ahead a little bit. There was no...
No, you were pretty much on the right spot.
Okay. I slowly began to walk. I used to hallucinate when I was a kid, so I wrote off the shadows as being a figment of my imagination. I began to feel better as I made it to the halfway point of the room. I looked down as my steps. I looked down as I took my steps, and that's when I saw it. Or rather, I didn't see it. My shadow wasn't there. I didn't have time to scream. I ran as fast as I could to the door and flung myself without thinking into the room beyond.
Well, you know what they say, dead men cast no shadow.
That was actually...
Who says that?
Yes.
Who said that?
I don't know who said it, but it was said.
It sounded cool, and it was actually apt, Damien. Kudos. Now, who wants to read the 4th, 5th, and 6th room?
Not it.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Well,
then that just leaves you with the rest of the rooms.
Darn.
The 4th room was possibly the most disturbing. As I closed the door, all light seemed to be sucked out and put back into the previous room.
Light was given the big...
They gave the light a big suck. I stood there, surrounded by darkness, not able to move. I'm not afraid of the dark and never have been, but I was absolutely terrified. All sight had left me. I mean, sensory deprivation, yeah, that is kind of
You say he wasn't afraid of the dark, so... Does that mean that he used to hang out with a bunch of kids in Canada and telling stories at the campfire while throwing non-dairy powder creamer before every story?
Minute for the approval of the Midnight Society. The tale of the NoEnd house.
That actually sounds like a real episode.
It does.
Man, you reading Are You Afraid of the Dark? I mean, if it wasn't for the stuff that came in later, I'm pretty sure it could have been. I held my hand in front of my face, and if I didn't know what I was doing, I would never have been able to tell. Darkness doesn't describe it.
This was advanced
this
darkness.
This isn't your normal everyday darkness.
Hey, if I close my eyes, it doesn't seem as dark.
Dark.
Who's there?
Who said that? I couldn't hear anything.
Can't understand your accent.
I couldn't hear anything. It was dead silence. If you're in a soundproof room, you can still hear yourself breathing. You can hear yourself being alive. I couldn't.
That's a pretty chilling concept. Like not even being able to hear yourself breathing. That's kind of spooky.
Sensory deprivation of the room. Pretty sure rooms like that exist, don't they?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, sensory deprivation chambers.
Didn't we put like Charles Manson in a room like that, where it's like a sensory deprivation chamber?
Maybe.
It's funny how people kind of don't even register the fact that he's dead.
I forgot.
Yeah, and his last true devoted follower's dead too, I think.
Fuck him.
Her.
Fuck them both.
No, just her. I began to stumble forward after a few moments. My rapidly beating heart was the only thing I could feel. Oh, I added a word there. I misrepresented the story. I am sad.
You are bad.
There was no door in sight. I wasn't even sure there was one this time. The silence was then broken by a low hum. I felt something behind me. I spun around wildly, but could barely even see my nose. I mean, I thought you couldn't see anything.
The story is being inconsistent.
I knew it was there, though. Regardless of how dark it was, I knew something was there. The hum grew louder, closer. It seemed to surround me, but I knew whatever was causing the noise was in front of me, inching closer. I took a step back. I had never felt that kind of fear. I can't really describe true fear. Well, if you played Earthbound, I guess you can. Pokey would gladly tell you.
But this felt something in the room. Was it a really, really dark-skinned naked man? And you couldn't see him because he was so black? He just blended into the darkness. He's like a really dark-skinned black man who's naked, and the only time the only time you can see him is when he smiles because his teeth are so white.
I got stuck in this house too, man. I'm real sorry. I hope I didn't give you.
Oh shit! You Peter's friend? Yeah. I'm his drug dealer. I told him to come here. He just left me behind. The door locked itself. I don't know what I'm doing here. Help me find the exit.
I don't even know why I took off my clothes.
It's hot in here,
Crackers,
man.
wag his
Shit.
tail.
It's Big Smoke. Yeah.
I'm real hungry. You
Look,
got
I
any
said I wanted
cheeseburgers?
2 number 4s. This isn't what I meant. I wasn't even scared that I was going to die. I was scared of what the alternative was. I was afraid of what this thing had in store for me.
A number 9.
The lights
A number
flashed
9 large.
And the lights flashed for a second, and I saw it. Nothing. I saw nothing, and I know I saw nothing there.
You
The room was
lose.
again
Good
plunged
day, sir.
into... Sorry, I kind of talked over you. Can you say that joke again?
There was nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Oh man, imagine this being the creepypasta equivalent of Willy Wonka.
So Willy Wonka because
You know
he's a
what?
creepy motherfucker.
Outside of some Oompa Loompa singing, we're almost there.
Oompa Loompa.
The room was
doobie
again
doo
plunged
doo.
into darkness.
I have a piece of heroin for you.
Cool.
Oompa loompa doompa dee dee. If you are wise, you will smoke it for me.
I mean, that's not
Room was
missing. The
again-
Oompa Loompas never offered any fucking drugs.
Well, that's because they kept it for themselves.
That's true.
How do you think they got so orange?
The fucking like tiny little like basically little men that they like had come over from, if it was a Czechoslovakia or some shit, and like they could barely speak English. And it's like they need something to pass the time because they're surrounded with people that speaking them some gibberish to them, and like having them dress up.
Oh great!
I mean, the only creepy part about that would be that they sing in perfect English.
The only English they knew, it happened to be exactly what they needed to sing.
The room was again plunged into darkness, and the hum became a wild screech. I screamed in protest. I couldn't hear this goddamn sound for another minute. I ran backwards. I ran backwards, away from the noise, and fumbled for the door handle. I turned and fell into room 5. Oh, jeez.
Go on.
Before I describe room 5, you have to understand something. I am not a drug addict. Yes, I am not like Peter.
My piece of shit friend, who I wonder why I even hang out with.
I have had no history of drug abuse or any sort of... Yeah, it just sounds like you're denying it. Or any sort of psychosis short of the childhood hallucinations I mentioned earlier. And those were only when I was really tired or just waking up. I entered the NoEnd house with a clear head. After falling in from the previous room, my view of room 5 was from my back, looking up at the ceiling. What I saw didn't scare me.
Sorry.
Oh, someone's barbecuing. Nice. What I saw didn't scare me, it simply surprised me. Trees had grown into the room and towered above my head. The ceilings in this room were taller than the others, which made me think I was in the center of the house.
The ceiling here is made of ceiling.
No, the ceiling here is made of tree.
I mean, how would you react
I
if you walked into this environment, like walked inside a house and find like a fully formed, like basically
Forest,
a jungle?
yeah.
It's interesting.
I wouldn't react like this guy did, that's for sure.
Good
I got up off the
night,
floor.
Notorious.
I got up off the floor, dusted myself off,
Did the
and took a
dinosaur?
look around. After taking a look around. It was definitely
the story again.
It was definitely the biggest room of them all. I couldn't even see the door from where I was. It was just 3 feet in front of you. How can you not see it?
Ah, fuck.
Various brush and trees must have blocked my line of sight with the exit. Up to this point, I figured the rooms were going to get scarier, but this was a paradise compared to the last room. I also assumed whatever was in room 4 stayed back there. I was incredibly wrong. As I made my way deeper into the room, I began to hear what one would hear if they were in a forest. Chirping bugs and the occasional flap of birds seemed to be my only company in this room. That was the thing that bothered me most. I heard the bugs and other animals, but I didn't see any of them. I began to wonder how big this house was. From the outside, when I first walked up to it, it looked like a regular house. It was definitely on the bigger side, but this was almost a full forest in here.
The bigger side. They call it the NoEnd dick because it just keeps on going.
Oh, I thought it was because you just kept on thrusting and don't stop.
That too.
Jeez. The canopy covered my view of the ceiling, but I assumed it was still there, however high it was. Couldn't see any walls either. The only way I knew I was still inside was that the floor matched the other rooms, the standard dark wood paneling. Let's see. I kept walking, hoping that the next tree I passed would reveal the door. After a few moments of walking, I felt a mosquito fly onto my arm. I shook it off and kept going. A second later, I felt about 10 more land on my skin at different places.
Grody.
I felt them... Well, if you like malaria.
I don't know anyone who does like malaria.
I felt them
I mean, this guy might.
I felt them crawling in my skin.
Yeah, what's up?
Jeez.
Alright.
I felt them crawl up and down my arms and legs, and a few made their way across my face. I flailed wildly to get them all off, but they just kept crawling.
Bugs!
I looked at... Bugs!
Anyone remember Hellraiser the 2? I watch Hellraiser 2. It was like a mentally ill person who an evil professor gets him to, like, I think he slips on some hallucinogenics, and because he's trying to experiment to get him to, like, mutilate himself on a mattress to summon a portal to, I think, hell. I can't remember exactly the plot. And he tells him that there's, like, he feels like bugs are crawling underneath his skin, and the professor hands him a scalpel to cut it off, or cut them out, and that's what this reminds me of.
I looked down and let out a muffled scream. More of a whimper, to be honest. I didn't see a single bug. Not one bug was on me, but I could feel them crawl. Maybe it actually is. I heard them fly by my face and sting my skin, but I couldn't see a single one. I dropped to the ground and began to roll wildly. I was desperate. I hated bugs, especially ones I couldn't see or touch. But these bugs could touch me, and they were everywhere.
Yeah, he doesn't mean thinking of fucking no-see-ums. Anyone ever had those?
Show me on the doll where the bugs touched you.
Touches wee-wee.
I began to crawl. I had no idea where I was going. The entrance was nowhere in sight, and I still hadn't even seen the exit. So I just crawled. My skin wriggling with the presence of these phantom bugs.
Spooky ghost bugs!
The most terrifying bugs of them all.
Oh, that episode of Adventure Time with a ghost fly that keeps haunting them or something?
Shh. After what seemed like hours, I have not seen that show in a while. I don't know what you're talking about. After what seemed like hours, I found the door. I grabbed the nearest tree and propped myself up, mindlessly slapping my arms and legs to no avail. I tried to run, but I couldn't. My body was exhausted from crawling and dealing with whatever it was that was on me. I took a few shaky steps towards the door, grabbing each tree on the way for support. How close were these trees?
I mean, forests are...
It's like Shia LaBeouf. Swinging from branch to branch with the monkey.
Oh, fuck you.
Yeah. There you are, piece of shit.
Shia LaBeouf is fucking Harrison Ford's son. This must be the most disappointing shit in the world.
He's not famous anymore.
No.
He was meme worthy at first, and he wasn't a terrible actor, but then he became a fucking raging dickhead.
It was only a few feet away when I heard it. The low hum from before. It was coming from the next room, and it was deeper. I could almost feel it inside my body, like when you stand next to an amp at a concert. Well, I haven't been that close to a concert, so I can't say.
I've never been to a concert.
What's a concert?
I don't know. It sounds like something in a pre-pandemic era.
You just made me sad.
Good.
Concerts are a thing of the past.
The feeling of the bugs on me lessened as the hum grew louder. As I placed my hand on the doorknob, the bugs were completely gone, but I couldn't bring myself to turn the knob. I knew that if I let go, the bugs would return, and there was no way I could make it back to room 4. I just stood there, my head pressed against the door marked 6, and my hand shakily grasping the knob. The hum was so loud I couldn't even hear myself pretend to think. There was nothing I could do but move on. Room 6 was next, and room 6 was hell. I mean, it's only missing 2 more 6s.
This was just like Satan sitting in front of a coffee table, like, oh god damn it! I didn't get the house in order. I didn't think you would get here so soon.
I closed the door behind me. My eyes held shut and my ears ringing. The hum was surrounding me. As the door clicked into place, the hum was gone. I opened my eyes in surprise, and the door I had shut was gone. It was just a wall now. I looked around in shock. The room was identical to room 3, the same chair and lamp, but with a correct amount of shadows this time. The only real difference was that there was no exit door, and the one I came through was gone. No, this is the dev room.
Change log, fixed shadows in room 4.
This is the room that's fucking...
No, wait, actually, no, this is the serious room, just with no exit door.
Goodness gracious.
This is where the narrator of the story goes when he's serious.
Puts on his...
The character just tried to activate server cheats.
Jesus.
Stop,
man.
You don't have permission to die.
I wish there were more people that knew Stanley Parable to know what the hell I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. It's just I don't know how to comment on it. It's been a long time since I played Stanley Parable.
I haven't played it yet.
That's one of the greatest things of all time.
There was supposed to be a sequel, but it got delayed.
No.
Stanley Parable is fucking phenomenal.
Mostly due to fan outcry.
Why fan outcry?
But with the correct amount of shadow system. They kept saying to delay it because the game's release date seemed too soon.
What? That sounds like that sounds like the opposite of what people complain about.
Yeah. It's an anti-problem.
The only real difference was that there was no exit door, but the one I came through was gone. As I said before, I had no previous issues in terms of mental instability, you liar. But at that moment I fell into what I now know was insanity. I didn't scream. I didn't make a sound. At first I scratched softly. The wall was tough. But I knew the door was there somewhere. I just knew it was. I scratched at where the doorknob was. I clawed at the wall frantically with both hands, my nails being filed down into the skin against the wood. Nah, I need a drink. Whatever. I fell silently to my knees. The only sound in the room was the incessant scratching against the wall. I knew it was there. The door was there. I knew it was just there. I knew if I could get past this wall. Someone else be the girl. I can't do this voice right now.
Are you alright?
I jumped. That's good enough. I jumped off the ground and spun in one motion. I leaned against the wall behind me and I saw what it was that just spoke to me. To this day, I regret ever turning around. There was a little girl.
Just like fuck fish. It's the little girl who scares a Diavolo. Get away from me! Get away from me!
You guys and your references I know nothing about. Why don't you guys join me in my freaking references that you know nothing about?
Watch JoJo Clubby, and this is a JoJo stream.
Exactly.
She was wearing a soft white dress that went down to her ankles. She had long blonde hair to the middle of her back and white skin and blue eyes. Oh no, she's an Aryan.
Oh no.
Just blue eyes, white dragon lady.
She... I'm sorry, but out of context, this is really funny. She was the most frightening thing I had ever seen, and I know that nothing in my life will ever be as unnerving as what I saw in her. While looking at her, I saw something else. Where she stood, I saw what looked like a man's body, only larger than normal and covered in hair. He was... oh, jeez. He was naked from head to toe, but his head was not human and his toes were hooves. It wasn't the devil. See, Naji, you were wrong.
It wasn't Satan, it was his brother Stan.
Nah, it was his cousin Mark. But at that moment, it might as well have been. The form had the head of a ram, and the snout of a wolf. It was horrifying, and it was synonymous with the little girl in front of me. They were the same form. I can't really describe it, but I saw them at the same time. They shared the same spot in that room, but it was like looking at two separate dimensions. When I saw the girl, I saw the form. And when I saw the form, I saw the girl. I couldn't speak. I could barely even see. My mind was revolting against what it was attempting to process. Yeah, my throat's getting dry. I need to drink, damn
No,
it.
it just made me think of this guy like stroking out for like. That's what happens when your mind revolts against the process.
I had been scared before in my life, and I had never been more scared than when I was trapped in the 4th room. That was before room 6. Room 5 was just kind of there.
Yeah. Bugs.
Well,
I just stood there.
to be fair, like, you know how people freak out when they have one bug crawling on them or anything crawling on them. Now imagine hundreds of bugs crawling on you, but you can't get them off. Like you can't even.
For some reason that didn't scare him as badly as room 4.
Well, because bugs are actually things that we can conceptualize. I can't conceptualize a man with hooves and a wolf snout existing in a parallel dimension with his little girl. I think that would be logistically more scary.
Yeah.
Kind of in the same place at the same time, yeah.
Like, that's definitely an interesting concept. It's just like these two things taking up the same space, and you kind of see them both at the same time. Like, that's interesting. Like, this is already way better than Russian Sleep Experiment just for that, because, like, oh, hey.
Ain't it?
Unique horror concept. Cool.
I would argue that, like, if I had any complaints thus far, I think it ramped up things a little too fast for my liking.
Well, I mean, like,
when should the horror have started, then?
Honestly, I would have picked it up at maybe chapter 4 or 5. Like, the room without... like, I don't know, 3 should have been where things started to really, like, start to sink in that something isn't right. But for me, like, 3, you walk into a room, and there's a lamp, and there are multiple shadows, but there's just one chair. And that's automatically like, oh, we're immediately touching onto the supernatural. But I guess that isn't my preference.
How much further until room 7? Because I need to get food.
Fuck you, bitch. You don't eat you eat when I tell you to.
Oh man, there's 4 more paragraphs. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. There was no exit. I was trapped here with it. And then it spoke again.
That's you, Fish.
Oh yeah. David, you should have listened.
It's like nagging him now.
David,
come on.
David.
Like that's the little girl and the ghost demon speaking simultaneously. I'm gonna imagine this evil goat Satan thing. I'm like, David, come on now, fella.
You should have listened, and you didn't take out the trash.
When it spoke, I heard the words of the little girl, but the other form spoke through my mind in a voice I won't attempt to describe. There was no other sound, The voice just kept repeating that sentence over and over in my mind, and I agreed. I didn't know what to do. I was slipping into madness, yet couldn't take my eyes off of what was in front of me. I dropped to the floor. I thought I had passed out, but the room wouldn't let me. I just wanted it to end. I was on my side, my eyes wide open, and the floor. Can you stop calling it that? Shit. I mean, I get you don't really know what else to call it, but try using
creature
synonyms.
Yeah, it needs more descriptive language.
Staring down at me, scurrying across the floor in front of me was one of the battery-powered rats from the second room. The house was toying with me.
I don't know why.
Yeah, no shit.
I just find that funny.
Literally a toy.
Like a fucking Satan demon, and then like one of the rats, like I mean, I guess that's kind of weird and unnerving. Like, how the fuck did it even get here? And you can tell, yeah, it feels like the house is legit, like almost taunting him now. But it just like I'm just like laughing at the thought of this hellish demon, and this like cute little mouse toy goes around the floor.
Yeah, this little wind-up rat boy.
It's got like one of those little wind-up keys on the back.
Mm-hmm.
The house was toying with me, but for some reason seeing that rat pulled my mind back from whatever depths it was headed, and I looked around the room. I was getting out of there. I was determined to get out of that house and live and never think about this place again.
With
I
my
knew this room was hell.
$500.
Yes, $500 richer.
500.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he forgot about the money at this point, and not that I can blame him. I knew this room was hell, and I wasn't ready to take up a residency. I mean,
Yeah, the rates in hell are really bad.
You go to, it's like Mark Twain said, you go to heaven for the view, hell for the company.
Have you seen the rent? Holy shit.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that hell is California? It looks looks really nice, and then you try to move there, and maybe if you're lucky, you can afford a studio apartment.
Fire. The rent's really high.
In Skid Row.
Obnoxious people,
here.
pedophiles working in Hollywood Hills. It's wonderful.
At first, it was just my eyes that moved. I searched the walls for any kind of opening. The room wasn't that big, so it didn't take long to soak up the entire layout. The demon still taunted me, the voice growing loud. You little bitch.
You gotta cry to your mom.
Oh no, the Russians turned American.
It's fucking Satan's doing schoolyard bullying.
The voice growing louder as Last one out of this room is a rotten egg.
Oh, you can't get out, I guess. I'm gonna give you a swirly nerd.
The voice growing louder as the form. I'm really starting to hate that word. It stayed rooted where it stood. I placed my hand on the floor, lifted myself up to all four, and turned to scan the wall behind me. Then I saw something I couldn't believe. The form was now right at my back, whispering into my mind how I shouldn't have come. I felt its breath on the back of my neck, but I refused to turn around.
So it's a breathing on the back of your neck telling you you shouldn't have come, huh?
I was supposed to come first.
I told you to count down from 3, and we would do it together.
Why wouldn't you look at me while we were doing it?
Why don't you look at me when we make love? You're thinking about some other demon, aren't you? You're thinking about that. You're thinking about Jesus, aren't you?
A large rectangle was scratched into the wood, with a small dent chipped away at the center of it. Right in front of my eyes, I saw the large 7 I had mindlessly etched into the wall.
Oh, that's
I knew what it was.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, that does make a cool horror concept. If you can't find an exit, just make one. I knew what it was. Room 7 was just beyond that wall where Room 5 was moments ago. I don't know how I had done it. Maybe it was just my state of mind at the time, but I had created the door. I knew I had. In my madness, I had scratched into the wall what I had needed most. An exit to the next room.
So there's no excuse to be
Room 7.
poor. Pick your up all your bootstraps, pussies.
Yeah.
Make your own doors in life.
Maybe you should try getting a job.
But I don't got no...
Even if that job is just scratching doors into walls with your bare hands.
I don't got no shoes, sir. Like, that sounds like quarter attitude to me.
Room 7 was close. I knew the demon was right behind me, but for some reason it couldn't touch me. I closed my eyes and placed both hands on the large 7 in front of me. I pushed. Push, David, push. Congratulations, it's a girl.
Push. Push.
I pushed as hard as I could. The demon was now screaming in my ear.
Like a Call of Duty or Let's Player.
Nah, well then they would all be 12 years old and call
No,
me faggot.
the demon is fuck my channel, I guess. No, demon's wings of return. Look here, listen, look, listen.
The demon was now screaming in my ear. It told me I was never leaving. It told me that this was the end, but I wasn't going to die. I was going to live there in room 6 with it. I wasn't. I pushed and screamed at the top of my lungs. I knew... I knew I was going to push through the wall eventually. I clenched my eyes shut and screamed, and the demon was gone. I was left in silence. I turned around slowly and was greeted by the room as it was when I entered.
Yeah, at the end of this
Just a chair and a light.
paragraph, Fish, you can take over.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it, but I didn't have time. I didn't have time to well. Hang on, I couldn't believe it, but I didn't have time to well.
Did he mean dwell?
I'm guessing he meant
Maybe.
well.
There's a... I'm genuinely surprised to see a typo in this story. I'm not even fucking around. I didn't expect to see one.
Neither did I, but whatever. We're only human. For now.
For now.
Wait until Cyberpunk 2077, brother.
Oh my god.
It'll be glitchy and...
Oh boy, we're all gonna be Play-Doh people.
I can at least hang my dick out while people mentioning it. And I get made fun of for not being circumcised. That's an actual game mechanic in Cyberpunk 2077.
Cool.
Yeah, well, at least you can
But
put your
why?
pants on and then your dick will just face through them.
I love that game so much.
I turned back to the 7 and jumped back slightly. What I saw was a door. It wasn't the one I had scratched in, but a regular door with a large 7 on it. My whole body was shaking. It took me a while to turn the knob. I just stood there for a while, staring at the door. I couldn't stay in room 6. Couldn't. But if this was only room 6, I couldn't imagine what 7 had in store.
God damn it. This is a typo paragraph.
I hate this story now.
Yeah, this is bad.
This short 0 out of 10 would not read.
Illusion Sleep Experiment was so much better. It had no it had no typos whatsoever, ever, anywhere. I forgot all about it, that's why I can say that.
Me too, actually. I must have stood there for an hour, just staring at the 7. Finally, with a deep breath, I twisted the knob and opened the door to room 7.
I'm just imagining like that Satan girl is like sitting in this. Look, I left you alone. Go, fucking go.
Yeah.
I did my job. I'm incontinent nowadays. I just gotta scare you and leave. Now it's time for the scintillating words of Fish Stick on a Stick.
Yeah.
Famous Minecraft Let's Tuber.
I'm the Minecrafter here. Alright, let's go. Alright. I gotta stretch, I gotta get ready for this. I gotta prepare myself for the spooks that are ahead.
Wow, I'm in the call, bro.
promised. I stumbled through the door, mentally exhausted and physically weak. The door behind me closed, and I realized where I was. I was outside. Not outside like room 5, but actually outside. My eyes stung. I wanted to cry.
I miss being inside the house. Satan didn't want me.
I felt the naive and tried, but couldn't. I was finally out of that hell. I didn't even care about the prize that was promised. I turned and saw that the door I just went through was the entrance. I walked to my car and drove home, thinking of how nice a shower sounded. Yeah? As I pulled up to my house, I felt uneasy. The joy of leaving NoEnd house had faded and dread was slowly building in my stomach. I shook it off as residual from the house, and made my way to the front door. I entered and immediately went up to my room. There on my bed was my cat, Baskerville.
What?
He was the first living thing I had seen all night, and I reached to pet him. He hissed and swiped at my hand. I recoiled in shock, as he had never acted like that. I thought, whatever, he's an old cat. I jumped in the shower and got ready for what I was expecting to be a sleepless night. After my shower, I went to the kitchen to make something to eat. I descended the stairs and turned into the family room. What I saw would forever be burned into my mind, however. My parents were lying on the ground, naked and covered in blood.
Ew, they were naked?
Mutilated. Ew, gross, your parents were naked.
I mean, they usually lie on the ground covered in blood, but they're usually clothed.
Yeah. Where is good decency gone in this world?
What is wrong with this country?
This is just what happens when Biden gets elected.
This is what happens when you let one of them live is in the White House. I was about to say something that would have got me in trouble.
What, libtards?
No, I wouldn't have said that because I'm a good person.
Okay.
Today.
Okay. They were mutilated to near unidentifiable states.
And how do you know they were
Their
parents?
limbs were removed. Yeah?
Well, you say near unidentifiable, so you got me again, story.
Alright.
Checkmate, atheist.
Their limbs were removed and placed next to their bodies, and their heads were placed on their chests facing me. They had to run it with the Mexican cartel. The most
I don't know how
unsettling
much I
part,
missed.
the most unsettling part was their expressions. They were smiling, as though they were happy to see me.
Oh, that's sweet.
I vomited and sobbed there in the family room. I didn't know what had happened. They didn't even live with me at the time. I was a mess. Then I saw it. A door that was never there before. A door with a large 8 scrawled on it in blood.
This just reminded me even more of like 1408. I don't want to. I want to talk about. I don't know if anyone see it. I don't want to spoil it, but I think I've already indicated with the false, being out of the horrible environment and realizing that you're still in there. Like it had a moment like that. And I was just imagining the protagonist screaming like the main character, "I was out! I was out!" He's trying to get me commit suicide. I'm triggered. Reminded me of my dead daughter. Look, this is not the safe space I was promised.
I was still in the house.
No one else is a
I
safe
was standing
space.
in my family room, but I was in room 7.
Do that.
The faces of my parents smiled wider as I realized this. They weren't my parents. They couldn't be. But they looked exactly like
Dismembered at everything like my
marked...
parents normally are.
Yeah. I mean, aren't your parents like that? The door marked 8 was across the room, behind the mutilated bodies in front of me.
At least it's a short
I
room.
I had to move on. Yeah. I knew I had to move on, but at that moment I gave up. The smiling faces tore into my mind. They grounded me where I stood.
Oh.
I vomited again and nearly collapsed. Then the hum returned.
Got grounded by your decapitated parents. Go to your room. But Mom, I gotta finish. No, I was at you $500. We didn't know where you were all night. Like fucking decapitated lecturing you.
It was louder than ever, and it filled the house and shook the walls. The hum compelled me to walk. I began to walk slowly, making my way closer to the door and the bodies. I could barely stand, let alone walk. And the closer I got to my parents, the closer I came to suicide.
Mouse.avi.
Came to the exact same fucking joke. The walls were now shaking so hard it seemed as though they were going to crumble. But still, the faces smiled at me. I mean, they are dead. They're probably not going to change too much.
I wish my parents smiled at me as much as the demon, evil, fake parents smiled at this guy.
Yeah. They seem pretty proud of him.
That's our boy.
As I inched closer, their eyes followed me. I was now between the two bodies, a few feet away from the door. The dismembered hands clawed their way across the carpet towards me, all while the faces continued to stare. Now terror washed over me and I walked faster. I didn't want to hear them speak. I didn't want the voices to match those of my parents. They began to open their mouths and the hands were inches from my feet. In a dash of desperation, I lunged toward the door, threw it open, and slammed it behind me. Room 8.
I just wanted to say that we're proud of you, son.
Love you, kiddo. Good luck in the other rooms of NoEnd house. We hope you get your $500.
You don't call us enough.
I was done. After what I just experienced, I knew there wasn't anything else this fucking house could throw at me that I couldn't live
You want to bet, nigga?
Live through. There was nothing short of the fires of hell that I wasn't ready for. Unfortunately, I underestimated the abilities of NoEnd house. Unfortunately, things got more disturbing, more terrifying, and more unspeakable in Room 8. I still have trouble believing what I saw in Room 8. Again, the room was a carbon copy of Rooms 3 and 6, but sitting in the usually empty chair, was a man. After a few seconds of disbelief, my mind finally accepted the fact that the man sitting in the chair was me. Bum bum bum. Not someone who looked like me. It was David Williams. I walked closer.
Oh, you give us your surname now. Cool.
Dox yourself, stupid.
Job, idiot.
I'm gonna send pizzas to your house. I'm gonna send pizzas to your house and disturb your mutilated parents now.
Funny, I just ordered a pizza.
What kind of pizza?
Extra large pepperoni.
From where?
Nice.
Local chain, what a lot.
Okay, there we go. If you would have said Domino's, I would have kicked you right the fuck out of this call.
Yeah, and I used to work at a Domino's, so I know better than anyone.
I mean, the big chain that I hate right now is Pizza Hut. Too much grease.
Really?
I mean, it's better than Little Caesars, although that's not saying anything at all, actually.
I mean, I'm fine with Pizza Hut.
I mean, yeah, but Little Caesars has an excuse. They're cheap as hell.
Yeah. Get a whole ass pizza for $5.
It tastes like it's a $5 pizza. It tastes like a $2 pizza.
Ooh.
But at least you can tell it's a pizza.
Can you?
That is true.
I accidentally bit into the cardboard when I was eating the pizza, and I didn't taste a difference.
I feel like when you get it hot, it's acceptable.
Well, I mean,
and anytime after that,
that's how I got it.
Now.
The cheese solidifies so fast.
Yeah.
I live in New York, so I take pizza very seriously. And fuck you, Chicago. You can't touch us with deep dish. Yeah, just because...
Hey, this is a real goes-on here.
Jon Stewart admitted defeat because he's a fucking coward.
Alright. I walked closer.
Well, I guess Hero went to sleep too, so now it's just us.
Oh.
One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do.
That you ever knew.
3 can be as bad as 1.
Oh. Right, because there are 3 of us here.
My funny jokes.
I had to get a closer, or a better look, even though I was sure of it. He looked up at me and I noticed the tears in his eyes.
Oh, please don't do it. Please don't hurt me.
What? I asked. Who are you? I'm not gonna hurt you.
No, don't do an accent. I think it's funnier if one of them just, like, Twin David just has a Cockney accent for no reason.
Oh, okay.
It's,
what?
Yes, you are.
Who are you? I'm not gonna hurt you.
He was sobbing now. You're gonna hurt me, and I don't want you to. This man was my mirror image.
He was my mirror image, but different in every other way.
His teeth were a lot worse than mine too.
He was wearing like a stalker cap and had a chimney broom for some reason.
He had a monocle.
He was Dick Van Dyke.
He was Big Daddy.
It was actually pretty pathetic looking. Especially since he was me. Identical in every way.
Every way.
Every way. Every way.
Oh, my bad. Every way.
Listen, who are you? I was now only a few feet from my doppelganger. It was the weirdest experience yet. Standing there talking to myself. I wasn't scared. But I would be soon. Why are you?
You're gonna hurt me. You're gonna hurt me. If you want to leave, you're gonna hurt me.
Why are you saying this? Just calm down, alright? Let's try and figure this. And then I saw it. The David sitting down was wearing the same clothes as me, except for a small red patch on his shirt, embroidered with the number 9.
I mean, that is legitimately fucking freaky, like, of a concept. Like, having to basically kill yourself in order to get out of this hell. I think there's a lot of concepts I really like in this story. Let me just say that right now.
Yeah.
It's a good story. I'll say this right now. I'll give my verdict so far.
So far, it's pretty good.
But I think it's not as good as Russian Sleep Experiment or Ash's Coma Theory. I'll tell you that much.
No, obviously not.
Where's this?
See, what I like about it is, like, each room is different, so it's kind of got the strength of a sort of anthology almost.
Yeah.
But it's all connected. But it's like you have the excuse of being able to jump from one totally crazy scenario to another.
And it feels like like I complain about the pacing of the big starting of it, but I like that it ramps up naturally in the sense that you think you hit the wall, and then it actually finds a way to kind of keep things escalating. It's not like a lot of creepypasta stories where it starts at 100 and it stays there and it acts like it's ramping up.
Or in like Happy Appy's case, where it goes to 9/11 and then goes back down to just like child murder.
Can we really complain about Happy Appy when it's like intentionally bad though?
Well, we can complain about it because people unironically like it.
Fair enough.
So, where was I?
Why are you saying this? Why are you running?
Why are you running?
Oh, no, wait. No, we had this. My eyes didn't leave that small number on his chest. I knew exactly what it was. The first few doors were plain and simple, but after a while they got a little more ambiguous. 7 was scratched into the wall, but by my own hand. 8 was marked in blood above the bodies of my parents. But 9, this number was on a person. A living person. Worse still, it was on a person that looked exactly like me. David, I had to ask.
Yes, you're gonna hurt me. You're gonna hurt me.
He continued to sob and rock. He answered to David. He was me, right down to the voice. But that 9, I paced around for a few minutes while he sobbed in his chair. The room had no door, and similarly to room 6, the door I came through was gone. For some reason, I assumed that scratching would get me nowhere this time. I studied the walls and floor around the chair, sticking my head underneath to see and seeing if anything was below. Unfortunately, there was. Below the chair was a knife. Attached was a tag that read, "To David, from management." The feeling in my stomach as I read that tag was something sinister. I wanted to throw up, and the last thing I wanted to do was remove that knife from under that chair. The other David was still sobbing uncontrollably. My mind was spinning into an attic of unanswerable questions. Who put this here?
The only other Davids in this room broke my heart, and now you're going to kill me.
Oh.
I was dumped by Satan, and now I have a twin brother, and my parents, like, they won't leave me alone from the other room. This is the worst Christmas ever.
They kept telling me to get a life, but I'm stuck in this room tied down to this chair.
Son, why didn't you go into accounting? Why did you have to go into English literature? Like, Mom, he's fucking talking to the decapitated head, like an old Jewish mother. Like, son, I want to be proud of you, but I just want you to like look out for your future. That's why he wanted to leave really quick. Like, he didn't want to hear it.
I want to hear my fucking mom's decapitated head nagging.
Come back, son. We need to talk about your portfolio. I got you a good job at the bank. Like, Mom! Very late to the party. How's the stream going? Well, we talked about how Russians are good, are ethical, and well, Viscera and all this shit. It's wonderful.
The usual time that they never take.
I'm sorry, Fish. Continue.
Okay. Where was I?
I don't know, where were you?
Not to mention the fact, I think that right there.
Not to mention the fact that as I knelt on the cold wood floor, I also sat in that chair, sobbing in protest of being hurt by myself. It was all too much to process. The house and the management had been playing with me this whole time. My thoughts for some reason turned to Peter, and whether or not he got this far. If he did, if he met a Peter Terry sobbing in this very chair, rocking back and forth. I shook those thoughts out of my head. They didn't matter. I took the knife from under the chair, and immediately the other David went quiet.
David.
He said in my voice.
What do you think What do you think you're going to do?
I lifted myself on the ground and clenched the knife in my hand.
I'm going to get out of here. And I'm Batman.
David was still sitting in the chair, though he was very calm.
Anime villain laugh from Vince 12. Something's not.
No, it'll be foo 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 foo. Or coo
No,
coo
that's
coo.
just the anime noblewoman's laugh.
Or coo coo coo.
No,
coo,
that's...
coo.
Oh! There you go, that's it.
Now you just got me fucking thinking of like other David doing that weird pose they do when they put the look like they're dabbing with their pinkies up, like that noblewoman like. I want to see like demonic doppelganger like, you think you could defeat me?
Oh, but I am master of ninjutsu.
Yes, noblewoman Fu Manchu.
Exactly. He looked at me with a slight grin. I couldn't tell if he was going to laugh or strangle me. Slowly, he got up from the chair and stood, facing me. It was uncanny. His height and even the way he stood matched mine. I felt the rubber hilt of the knife in my hand and gripped it tighter. I don't know what I was planning on doing with it, but I had a feeling I was going to need it.
Now,
His voice was slightly deeper than my own.
I'm gonna hurt you. I'm gonna hurt you. I'm gonna keep you here.
I didn't respond. I just lunged and tackled him to the ground. I had mounted him, and, oh my, and looked
Kinky.
down. Knife
It's
poised
not
in
gay,
my-
it's masturbation.
Exactly. He looked
It's
up at
not
me.
self-cessed, it's fucking myself.
He looked up at me, terrified.
Oh, now
He
you're
was like,
scared.
"Don't
Talk
look at me."
shit, get hit, pussy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't talk all this crap and then do that.
I'm gonna fuck you up, sunshine. Oh wait, I was just kidding, man. Calm down. We'll find the exit together. Ah!
It's just a prank, bro.
There's a camera.
Like, can you imagine like the management of NoEnd House like stepping out with the camera, like Jesus fucking Christ? It was like we were just, dude. We expected you to find a way out. We didn't actually think you would kill the man.
Why'd you give me the knife?
It was a, god damn. We didn't actually think you would.
Prank, it's a social experiment. It's for a YouTube video. Look, there's a camera right here.
Remember that show on MTV? What was it? It was an actual thing called Kicked in the Nuts.
Oh my god.
My friend used to show me that little webisode, yeah.
How often, like,
Well,
there's gotta be moments where he legit got the shit beaten out of him.
Probably.
And they didn't show it on TV.
yeah.
Then the
Pretty
hum
much.
returned, low and distant, though I still felt it deep in my body. David looked up at me as I looked down at myself. The hum was getting louder, and I felt something inside me snap. With one motion, I slammed the knife into the patch on his chest and ripped down. Blackness fell in the room, and I was falling.
Choke on
Oh,
him!
damn, dude, I just made a hole in your shirt.
Choke
Oh, you've done
on him!
stabbed me. Bit rude to put that knife in my chest, didn't it?
The darkness around me was like nothing I had experienced up to that point.
I believe in a thing
The floor
called
was
love.
dark. But it didn't come close to what was completely engulfing me. I wasn't even sure if I was falling after a while. I felt weightless, covered in dark. This really is advanced darkness. Then a deep sadness came over me. I felt
www.black.com.
lost, depressed, suicidal. The sight of my parents entered my mind.
Son,
I
we
knew it
want you to
wasn't real.
graduate, like, we want you to hang out with your twin brother in the room there.
Oh my god. I had a twin brother.
That's
all
what you
along.
wanted? Oops.
Are you two getting along in there? Yeah. He's like trying to stuffing his organs, trying to, we're fine. Like, oh, fuck, where's the duct tape?
I knew it wasn't real, but I had seen it in the mind, and the mind has trouble differentiating between what is real and what isn't. The sadness only deepened. I was in room 9 for what seemed like days. The final room. And that's exactly what it was. The end. NoEnd house had an end, and I had reached it. At that moment, I gave up. I knew it would be in that in-between state I knew I would be in that in-between state forever, accompanied by nothing but darkness. Not even the hum was there to keep me sane. I had lost all senses. I couldn't feel myself. I couldn't hear anything. Sight was completely useless here. I searched for a taste in my mouth and found nothing. I felt disembodied and completely lost. I knew where I was. This was hell. Room 9 was hell. And then it happened.
I thought you said room 6 was hell.
I think he also said room 4 was hell. Like...
Well, when you flip a 9 upside down, it becomes a 6.
Oh my god.
Oh, no.
Then there was an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where it's like, you remember where 666 was really 999?
Oh my gosh.
Oh shit, how the hell do you remember that?
Then it happened. A light. One of those stereotypical lights at the end of the tunnel.
Burn in my
life. I
life.
felt ground come up from below me, and I was standing. After a moment or two of gathering my senses and thoughts, I slowly walked toward that light. Move toward the light. As I approached the light, it took form. It was the form. It was a vertical slit down the side of an unmarked door. I slowly walked through the door and found myself back where I started, the lobby of NoEnd house. It was exactly how I left it. Still empty, still decorated with childish Halloween decoration. After everything that had happened that night, I was still wary of where I was. After a few moments of normalcy, I looked around the place trying to find anything different. On the desk was a plain white envelope with my name handwritten on it. Immensely curious, yet still cautious, I mustered up the courage to open the envelope. Inside was a letter, again handwritten. Who wants to read out the letter?
David Williams, congratulations. You have made it to the end of NoEnd house. Please accept this prize as a token of great achievement. Yours forever, manager. The manager.
Management.
No, manager.
With the letter,
man.
$100 bills.
$100 dues.
$500 dues.
Tobias!
I couldn't stop
man,
laughing.
you could buy a PS3 with that money.
I laughed for what seemed like hours. I laughed as I walked out to my car and laughed as I drove home. I laughed as I pulled into my driveway. I laughed as I opened my front door to my house. I laughed as I saw the small 10 etched into the wood.
That's a pretty good stinger.
The end.
So
It never ends.
yeah, I quite enjoyed this.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good
that's a
story.
fun story.
Again,
I hear the sequels are garbage, but maybe that's a story for another day.
Credited to Brian Russell.
I see the little next icon here. Apparently, there's a NoEnd house. How many NoEnd houses are there? One.
To my knowledge, there are 3.
Oh my god. Is it written by the same person?
Let's see.
Yes.
Let's see.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it was it's like
You
how
should have just left it.
it's like how Candle Cove, it's like the opposite of Candle Cove, where it got butchered by other people trying to make theories about how it worked, and it ruined the kind of weird, vague mystery of the story. No, it's like a CIA experiment or something. Fuck off.
Government mind controls. Fuck off.
Can't you just let something...
Thing that happened.
Yeah. But, like I said, I think the only complaint I had was, again, in regards to the initial, I guess, dip into the horror aspect. I feel like it's just so abrupt that it kind of...
Sure.
It kind of... I think, a little bit more setup would have been better to really ease us into it and, kind of create that feeling that, oh, wait, something isn't right here. I guess Room 3 kind of alluded to that, but it was a bit on the heavy-handed side, and shadows being in the room where there's only like one piece of furniture, and like you're looking down and there's no shadow. Like we immediately jump into supernatural, and it's kind of weird. But besides that,
my biggest problem would be like just repetition of certain phrases and like the form over and over again, the door, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like they could have used a bit more.
After a while, those words
flair,
stop feeling like words. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to get more descriptive with it. And I believe I need to go barbecue right now, so I think that's a good point to end it off on.
So yeah, unlike the last stream,
for you.
we will end this off actually with the story itself and not go on a like 4-hour long extra stream.
Stupid ass giant tangent.
So like, how would you rate this? Like, I when I call this a classic story, I would definitely, I think it's very much deserving.
Like maybe an 8.
This is one of the few that I've read on this website that actually deserved its placement.
Oh wait a minute.
Yeah,
for sure.
Oh wait a minute, hold on. It says right here, this is so fake. Oh, I didn't even know that. This story sucks.
Oh no. This
man,
one guy said it was fake. It means I can't enjoy it anymore.
I want to see how many, me and everyone here. Boy, you dumb as fuck. What?
Boy?
I want to see like how many, like, stupid inane comments there are. No one has never really answered.
I mean, given that this is a fandom, I'm pretty sure there's tons.
But that's a weird thing. I don't know. Like, you can never tell with the creepypasta fandom because there's a lot of poorly written or haphazardly slapped together stories that to this day still have relatively strong fandoms. Like, you know, Jeff the Killer, Jane the Killer. I would even argue,
Jane the Killer especially, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like, for how awful it was.
Yeah, but that got removed.
Like Laughing Jack.
Yeah.
Like, even though Laughing Jack is, the original story at best is like barely passable, and the sequel's terrible. But that has a really strong fan base, though. But then you get to stories like this, and I don't hear people kind of speaking it with the same reverence or the same kind of following that those stories kind of have. And I think it's also because
there's no one really that marketable in it.
True.
Yeah, because it doesn't have any like.
It doesn't have anyone you can cosplay as.
Exactly.
Like, that's the reason why.
What fan art are you going to draw of NoEnd House?
Probably like when I think of fan art of NoEnd House, I think of like a watercolor painting that's like delicately done to show. Like sometimes you would see basically done with for like a lot of H.P. Lovecraft's work. I'm not putting this on the same pedestal as H.P. Lovecraft, but I'm talking about in terms of the kind of pacing it has and the story and the kind of chill factor it has. And then, again, sync this up with the last story we read. And I think that's a little bit more marketable, I guess, because I've seen people like constantly peddle that image with the dude with the gums and the giant eyes.
Weird skinless dude.
Yeah, and the
Okay. Now how many teenagers would draw anime art of NoEnd House or whatever?
I would draw. David Williams is my husband, though. I don't know what you're talking about.
The two Davids, except they're like doing JoJo poses as they're about to fight each other.
The guy right, his parents is.
You're approaching me.
His parents are like Kira Yoshikaga's wet dream, like dismembered hands. Exactly. So yeah, I would rank this story rather highly. I would say that. I think Fish at the best like maybe 8.5 8 out of 10 because again the issues that I have, although minor,
a couple typos and like the pacing at the beginning, and the repetitious dialogue, I suppose.
But
they knock it down a few pegs, but you know,
I have
a whole, it's solid.
I have another question real quick, and I will cut it off there. I know I'm kind of rambling now. What would you say is the strongest like section in terms of the rooms and the worst? I would argue that the last room is the most effective to me, with him having to dismember himself, and the weakest would probably be
like not counting the first couple where it's just obviously a joke.
Yeah. I want to say number 5, but how number 5 ended, with the little girl Satan, how it ended was actually
number 5 was just the bugs, right?
No. I guess number 5 would be weakest, but I meant number 6. Like number 6 kind of is repetitious, but how it ended I really enjoy with him unintentionally scratching a 7 in the wall.
Like a 7. That was really clever. I like that a lot.
So I guess number 5 would be the weakest for me. Although it has
number 5 at the end of the day, it's just bugs.
I mean,
it's a lot of bugs and it's creepy, but it's just bugs.
Alright, I'm back.
I think it's because of like how we said, like a room. It also doesn't really kind of meld well with the rest of the the kind of psychological weird things.
Yeah, a lot of these are a lot more like heady, I guess.
Like
they're more conceptual horror.
I guess having creatures like things you can't see crawling on you is creepy, but the forest setting seems a little bit over the top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think, Damien? What's the best room and worst room in your opinion?
I mean, best room is obviously room 1.
Okay.
Nah, I'm just kidding. Best room is like room 6.
Really?
If only because of that whole mental aspect of being fucked with like that.
Like seeing two things in the same place at the same time, but they're totally different. Like I can totally get behind that.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. What was not counting the first 2 rooms, because obviously those were the kind of the primer, I guess. What would you say is the weakest section in regards to the room structure that I was going for? Me and Fish agree that it's 3 because it almost doesn't feel like it kind of fits with the tone that everything else goes.
Wait, you were saying room 5 because it's the bug one.
Oh, sorry, 3. I don't know why I keep confusing.
Well, room 3 is just like there's no shadows in here. Right?
I thought room 3 was kind of interesting. Again, like the only problem I had with room 3 was
it's a sort of subtle kind of weirdness.
I think
that is good to prime you into the paranormal aspect. I think.
I still think it jumped a little bit too far, like too heavy, too fast. Like if he had...
See, I think that's fine because it's like I feel like that's still something you could kind of fake, like if you were really clever with some light placement.
Yeah.
But it's just sort of unnerving.
But I think if he had started out and he had like just seen an empty chair and like everything seems normal, and he's like slowly come to the real something isn't right here. Like, oh my god, there are like shadows everywhere. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? And you walk around
down here, yeah.
And then he walks, and when he saw that he didn't have a shadow, I think that was the tipping point for that chapter. I don't know, like I think the general consensus still is that room 5 is the weakest because it's creepy, the idea of bugs crawling on you, I guess. But
honestly, I think my worst room was room 9 because it's just a rehash of room 4.
Oh, well,
it's like sensory deprivation but overloaded.
Yeah.
What was room 9? Room 9 was his parents, wasn't it?
No, that was room 8.
No, are you talking about room 9? Wait, room 9 wasn't that when you killed Cockney David Williams?
Well, I mean,
that was like after
8.
he killed Cockney Williams.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Cockney David, he was just like kind of falling in sensory deprivation land for a while.
Pour, drank, headshot, drank. Yeah, but other than our very legitimate and well thought out and well articulate complaints and handsome complaints at a very well endowed alpha male top tier Chad level complaints. Yeah, I mean, we're pretty impressive. I mean, I'm just saying, we're better than back creepypasta, much better.
Oh yeah.
And first of all, we're American, so we're patriots.
Exactly.
Oh, someone has an interesting thing. Room 1, nicotine, kind of harmless, gateway. Room 2, marijuana, same as before, with a stronger kick. Room 2, LSD, shrooms, hallucinations. Room 4, alcohol, blackout. Room 5, meth, bugs crawling on you. Room 6, antidepressants, plain insanity underneath. Room 7, heroin. I saw train spotting once. What? Okay, good for you. Room 8, overdose, hurting oneself, the final moment. Room 9, wanting to die. and room 10 is an addiction because your addiction never truly goes away. That's
interesting analogy.
That's an interesting interpretation, yeah.
That's one of the... I can't believe that I read an interpretation of this story that was actually kind of interesting and actually made me think for a second.
Like, yeah, the whole thing started because his friend is a huge drug addict.
I'm
so,
not
yeah,
addicted. I mean, you kind of
Let me start this...
Yeah, he was like in that big denial phase where it's just like, look, I'm not a drug addict. I don't abuse anything.
Let me just say to start this off.
I kind of forgot about the whole story being mostly just him in denial about some things.
I just meant, like, let me just start this story if I say, oh, Peter's a bitch. Fuck him. Oh yeah, I almost forgot that Channel Zero did an adaptation of this. And having read it myself over again, because when I first saw the Channel Zero series, or adaptation, I thought, oh, whatever, it's pretty good. And it's like, has anyone ever read The Ruins?
No.
See the movie?
No.
The movie and the book are about, like, these tourists go to this Mayan town, I guess, vacation, and they run into these killer vines in this, like, temple, and the natives, when they touch the vines, force them to go up the hill. And basically, like, quarantining them up there because the vines are extremely deadly, and they can't afford to let them come back down. And I watched the movie, and I thought, this is pretty unique and interesting. And then I read the book, and now I hate the movie because the book was so good. So I watched the Channel Zero NoEnd House. I thought, oh, that's pretty good. And then I read this, and now I hate Channel Zero NoEnd House.
That much of a difference, huh?
It adds, like, okay, multiple people go into NoEnd House and Channel Zero.
Oh, God. No, that totally takes away from the whole personal aspect of it.
Yeah, no, that just makes it like a slasher movie.
No, I don't like that at all. Wow.
And there's a person, like, I guess a mascot character. There's, like, a dude wearing a mask and, like, just standing in one of the rooms or some shit like that. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I watched it.
That's kind of lame.
So, yeah, the moral of the story is don't track Max Landis when he comes with a project idea for you.
And also don't do drugs.
Also, Max Landis' dad killed someone. Live with it.
Yeah, he killed 3 people.
Max, I'm not saying that it's your fault. It's not, and no one should hold you against it, and no one should, like, bother you about it. But don't go defending your dad. I'm just saying.
I'm saying it's your dad's fault.
It's your dad's fault.
He killed 3 people.
Your dad is a murderer. And he never... I don't think he was held accountable, was he?
Kind of. I mean, he got fined for it, I think.
Oh, fine.
Fine?
He got a...
Fine?
Well, he's rich.
You got a parking ticket, mister. You parked that helicopter inappropriately on those children.
It's like The Last Jedi where they get, like, put in jail for parking violation.
People have died.
Isn't that a great movie?
People died horribly, but you know what? This is a good time to make out with Finn. People are getting killed in the background. I love that scene.
Oh, I can't. If I get started on The Last Jedi, I'm never gonna be able to start this fucking barbecue. I have to go.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this stream of ours, and feel sure to like, comment, subscribe, and also, as you can see in the link below, I dusted off my Twitter, so you can follow me on the Twitter machine.
What have you done?
Yeah, follow me on Twitter, and I will try to post fun animal videos and pictures and whatnot. That's all I'll post.
Righteous.
I'm not, because that place is a cesspit of toxicity and garbage, so I feel like, I'm gonna give people something to look forward to when they go on that godforsaken garbage website. I'll talk to you guys later.
Right.
I'm gonna hang up right now.
Okay.
Let's talk about The Last Jedi for a few hours first.
No.
I hate those guys so much.